What's up, guys? Welcome back. It is Fantasy Endgame, and we're here to help you win at fantasy. That's it, plain and simple. That's why we're here. We're going to answer your questions, trade questions, waiver wire questions, if you still got them. Start sit. Still early in the week, but not really, because 24 hours from now, we're going to have football. Week 6 will be underway, and you want to make sure you get the right lineup in, especially so many injuries. I mean, we're over Tragic Tuesday, but life goes on. But you're going to have some big holes to fill if you're missing not one, not two, but three major players who are now on IR just after last week. So we'll try to help you the best we can. We're going to answer as many comments and questions as possible. The super chat feature is there so that you can get your fast pass and guarantee that we put your question on the screen and answer it in as much detail as we can, as time allows. We already got several lined up. Before we do that, let's kind of just go over what we haven't already gone over since yesterday, which, by the way, there's a lot of trade talk that's going to be happening. Nothing major yet. There was a trade that I don't know that was really worth talking much. Van Jefferson got traded to the Falcons.
Right.
I mean, does that matter anyway?
No, I mean, the Falcons can barely support Drake London and Kyle Pitts. They're not going to support Van Jefferson. No.
Yeah. I mean, I guess good for him because, like you said, once McVay is done with you, then he's done with you, right? So
yes.
But now the trade rumors are ramping up. We talked a lot, of course, about Justin Jefferson, the Vikings offense, what it's going to look like. What if, hypothetically, of course, everybody gets their way? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Vikings fans too at this point. What if Kirk Cousins gets traded? And of course, everyone wants him to go to the Jets because the Jets need a quarterback. The Jets may be a quarterback away from at least being a playoff team. Maybe not a contender, but I mean, is this just wishful thinking, or you actually can see this happening? And by the way, I have to throw this in. I love that somehow Colt McCoy, like being worked out by Minnesota, is like, oh, that's it. They're trading Cousins. I mean, they got Colt McCoy in the house. Like he's gone.
Yeah, the trade's already done. They just got to bring in their backup quarterback before they make the deal, right? I mean, I'm not going to say it's completely out of the question. What are the Vikings right now? 1-3, 1-4?
I'm 1-4.
But I mean, in that division, I think, like, aren't the Lions the only team that are above 500 in that division?
Yeah, I mean, Green Bay just lost. They're 2-3. Chicago, of course, only has one win. And the wild card race is still open. I mean, there's not a bunch of teams dominating.
And you look at the Vikings, because remember, the trade deadline is the end of this month. So there's only basically like what, 2.5, 3 weeks left to make a deal, whatever it is. They get the Bears. They could win that game. That's this week, of course. They get the 49ers. They're probably going to lose that game. And then they get the Packers. Look, if they win those games against the Bears and the Packers, not only is that 2 more wins, that's 2 wins against the division.
Right.
And now they're not. Now they're like, and then Justin Jefferson is what, a week away from coming back potentially. They're not in give up mode this year. So I'm not going to say it's completely out of the question, but I really doubt. I think I even saw a report from Adam Schefter where he said like, something like it was either him or Ian Rappaport. Like they're not really even entertaining trading Kirk Cousins at the moment. Like maybe if they lose those 3 games and they're 1-7, maybe they do it then. But again, we're talking about a very small deadline to get a trade done, right? It's like that last game is October 29th. The trade deadline is 2 days later. So you'd have to be on the phone with Green Bay, with New York, and just being like, let's get this deal done and make sure it's good for us. Because remember, like the Vikings aren't some team that's like, it's not like some horrible team like the Panthers or whatever, where it's like, okay, they're probably years away. The Vikings are built to win right now, at least in their mind, right? They're built to win right now. So we'll see. I mean, the trade deadline, let's be real, in football usually disappoints.
Yes. Yes, it does. It's not like all these star players, like you said, baseball,
Oh,
some of the best players in the game are going to be going to different teams, and it's but that's because it's different because salary cap, no salary cap. In baseball, the New York Yankees can pay $1 billion to get every good pitcher, and that's fine. Or and this year it was the Mets, the Padres. Okay, it didn't work, but still, it's not like that in football. Salary cap actually is a thing, and it matters, and it's just a different sport. So like I would say this: if they lose to the Bears, then I'd say okay, it's getting possible because then you're like, all right, not only are we 1-5, but we can't even beat the Bears. Like that's humiliating in itself. But then the fact is that like it's not going to look much better, right? Because like I said, not going to beat the 49ers, and then but they still have a chance. Yeah, I don't think they're looking to move Kirk Cousins. As
right,
much as it makes sense to all of us, and as much as people
right.
want this to get done, I don't expect it to get done. And
It makes
it's
sense to
mainly
us
the Jets.
because we play football like fantasy and they play football like football.
Yeah, exactly. They don't do it like a Madden, GM
Right.
thing.
That's probably a better thing, right? We play football like Madden and they play football like football.
Exactly. Now, what about this? This is more likely. Talking about teams that should and could be sellers, the Broncos. I mean, I don't see any chance of them really turning it around. I mean, they've been talked about as possible sellers for guys like Judy and Sutton and some other defensive players since before the season even started, and it didn't happen. But do you think that the Giants or the Broncos, or I think the other team that's realistic, that might be a seller is the Cardinals? Do you think those teams actually make moves like that?
Um, the Broncos certainly make sense because they're obviously not going anywhere this year. I mean, I like Sutton. I've never really thought Judy was that good, and he's not. People have hopefully people are accepting it by now, but neither of these guys, even Sutton, neither of these guys are a true number one wide receiver. They just aren't. Neither of them are. So I could see him moving on. I mean, look, right now the Broncos would have the number 3 pick in the draft. That could be for them Marvin Harrison Jr. if they wanted to go that route, because you got to think it's probably going to be QB. Well, as of right now, I think the Bears, or no, I mean, as of right now, the same team has the top 2 picks, but I can't think of who. For some reason, I'm spacing on who it is.
Well,
But
it is the
anyway,
Bears, isn't it the Bears? Because they got Carolina's pick.
is it the? Oh yeah, it is the Bears. So right now they have the top 2 pick, but then the Broncos. But maybe the Bears do. But anyways, totally speculating here. But I could see that. I mean, the Giants, sure, but who are the Giants selling? Who are they trading? Like people are like,
That's
hey, what's it gonna take to get Darius Slayton? What do you need for Wandale Robinson? Like, what do you need for Isaiah Hodgins? Is Isaiah Hodgins even playing, by the way? Like, what?
I think he is technically.
You know what I mean? Like, what are these? What are the Giants selling? Maybe some defensive players, but that doesn't help us in fantasy. The Cardinals, I mean, the only one that really would make sense would be Hollywood Brown. He is on the last year of his deal. He's been pretty good, but he's also still young. He's also still a young player. So I guess it would come down to them for like, do they feel like he's a guy they want to roll with long term, or are they a guy? Is he a guy that they're like, okay, moving on from, and they might as well do it now since he's on the last year of his deal anyway.
Yeah, it makes sense for the Cardinals to do something like that. But like you said, Hollywood, since he's gone to Arizona, he's been good. I mean, he hasn't
Yeah.
disappointed like a guy like Judy has been underwhelming. And, the Broncos with Peyton now in control of everything and being there, he might want to put his fingerprint on this roster. So it makes more sense for them. But I guess the bottom line is if Judy or Sutton do move somewhere else, like, is that really better for them in fantasy? I mean, where would they go that would even be, enough to make you say, well, now I want to start Jared Judy?
It'd have to be like the Chiefs, where you know what I mean, where it's like, okay, there's really no other like alpha wide receiver here, and you're attached to a good quarterback in a good offense, and then you trust that Andy Reid figures out how to use him in the best way. But yeah, there's not a lot of spots. I mean, really, there's not, and that's the thing. Like But what are the Chiefs going to give up for Jerry Jeudy? Like, what do the Chiefs have that the Broncos would want? I mean, and really, are you going to trade Jerry Jeudy to the Chiefs if you're the Broncos, your division rival? Probably not.
Yeah,
Probably
probably
not.
not.
So, yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of spots because I mean, how many teams do you look at and say, "Wow, this would be an incredible passing offense if they just added Jerry Jeudy"? You know what I mean?
Oh, no. I think, one team that really I hope does get another receiver, whether it's Judy or whoever, is the Baltimore Ravens. It's pretty clear that Odell Beckham is toast, and
Yeah.
he was not in any way helpful other than maybe convincing Lamar Jackson to stay there and sign a contract, but he's not actually helping on the field. And Rashad Bateman just looks, I don't know what he even looks like, and he's just not going to be start worthy. Nelson Aguilar is getting on the field a whole lot. That's not by design. That's not what they were hoping for before the season. So I think they could use another legit receiver. We'll see what happens. All right. We got some trade questions for fantasy. We're going to get to them. Some super chats. People have been here for good almost 2 hours, basically right as soon as you posted that link. We're going to get to those in a second, but first, I am obliged to remind you, Underdog is a place to go when you do your pick'ems. If you want to do in-week drafts, you can do all sorts of tournaments and contests. It's right there. And you know that if you are new to Underdog because you haven't tried it yet, you're waiting for, I don't know, things like, let's say a 100% deposit match up to $500, a new customer special where you can pick Pat Mahomes to just get 1 yard, or a chance to win $100,000 just for taking a pick. You don't even have to get it right. Just taking Cooper Kupp in this case. The other day, and I saw it was Chris Olave. It doesn't matter who it is. You just take the pick that they're offering you, and you're enrolled for a chance to win $10,000. 10 different people will win $10,000. So, I'd say this is pretty much the time to try it because just for signing up, if you use our promo code Endgame, again, you're going to get money back for every dollar you deposit in your account, up to 500, plus the free picks, plus the chance to win a whole lot more. Plus it's fun. So there you go. Underdog. Check the link. It is down below in the description and it's right there. And we have all sorts of picks in mind that we like. Those lines change every day. So I'll always go back and check, take advantage of the ones that you like. All right. Trade question number 1 and comment number 1. I'd like to give a shout out to our very first in line. That would be Adante Bourne.
What's up?
All right.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Got Keenan Allen and Tony Pollard for Alvin Kamara.
This is what I say. Like, this is why I love trading guys. Like, I mean, not that I have Alvin Kamara anywhere, but this is why I talk about name value. Like, people still believe, what was it, like 2018, Alvin Kamara is walking through that door. Look, in week 1, he caught 13 passes. Great. That's never going to happen again. And I say week 1, but like his first game. His second game, he caught 2 passes because he's not going to catch 13 passes ever again. And he had 80 yards on 22 carries, but he scored. Great. But here's the thing. What happens when he doesn't catch more than 2 passes and doesn't score and he only racks up, 80-something yards or whatever? You get nothing from him. And you're getting a stud wide receiver and a stud. Yeah, this is saying you won this trade is a disservice.
Okay, but it gets, I guess better for him. But Adante, I'm going to say, well, look at this. Okay, Adante, good for you, but I think you need to play in an end game or a more competitive league next year. He says that someone dropped Devontae Smith
for Alvin Kamara.
Someone just dropped Devontae Smith. So I guess you have to drop Nico in this case.
Yeah, you got to drop Nico, I guess. You don't have another running back you can drop. Well, look, now you just got Keenan Allen too.
Yeah. Maybe if you have a backup quarterback or kicker, who knows? Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, you can drop Nico for Devonta Smith though. Yes. Jeez.
Yes, you can. Alan from Brazil. Here's another clear W. Ramondre for T. Higgins.
Yeah, T. Higgins side wins. I mean, look, it's hard to
Mhm.
see the path for Ramondre now. I mean, this offense, this whole team is a mess, and there's nothing they can do. Like, there's nobody. There's not like there's some rookie quarterback, sitting on the bench where it's like, put him in, see what he can do. Maybe he can turn this. Like, no, there's not. There's no one. There's nothing they can do. Like, are the Patriots going to trade for Kirk Cousins? No. So, like,
I mean, they should, but no, yeah, it's not going to happen.
yeah,
I'm
T.
not.
Higgins
Yeah,
side
I'm
wins
just
that one.
holding and praying, I guess, Ramondre gets better, but I'm taking T Higgins. I don't think.
Yeah.
Look, I'm still not starting T Higgins this week, and I said this and I mean it, but I'm taking him rest of the season over Ramondre.
Oh yeah.
And then,
For
yeah, I think this whole week could be dedicated to
sure.
fantasy football is pain. 2 and 3, slightly painful. Here's another Stevenson question: would you go Stevenson or Brian Robinson?
Definitely Brian Robinson here.
Yeah.
I don't really want to start Stevenson.
I know he was bad last week, but let's just chalk that up to just, I don't know, Washington not being ready for the Bears.
He was
And
bad last week, but
then,
I'm pretty sure he was still better than Stevenson.
well, actually, that's a good point. As bad as he was, it's not like Stevenson was any better. T-Law over Goff.
Yes, I'm taking T-Law over Goff. I'm not like I think Goff's okay this week, but I don't feel a big Goff game this week.
It's Road Goff. We know Road Goff is, the evil alter ego to Jared Goff's home. T-Law's fine. Should I be looking to move off of Cooper with Watson's injury? This is a good point, and we could go on about this, but what is up with Deshaun Watson?
I mean, who knows what's up with Deshaun Watson? But I did see Adam Schefter say he would be like he'd be very surprised if Deshaun Watson doesn't start this week. So whatever that's worth. But yeah, I don't really know what's going on with Deshaun Watson. But look, maybe when you sexually assault 40 plus women and get caught, it changes you as a human being. Maybe.
That's a look, and we're just looking at this objectively, thinking this should be a good year for Deshaun Watson, right? He should be able to come out and have the weapons and the offense, whatever. He hasn't looked like his old self.
No.
Um, I can't think of any reason other than that. He's just in a different place and maybe just not the same guy. Which in one sense, I guess that's a good thing if he's not the same guy as before.
Yeah,
But
let's hope. Yeah.
football wise, honestly, I drafted Deshaun Watson in a couple of leagues. I'm
Yep.
getting a little nervous. I'll just say that. I'm not ready to panic, But in one league where I did have Deshaun Watson, I thought, oh, I'll just roll with him all year. That's the league where I tried to buy low on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I did buy low on Trevor Lawrence. I'm getting a little nervous. Let's just say that. Moises with the first super chat from Mexico. Thank you, Moises. Had Connor and Achan, picked up Demarcado, Spears, and Foreman. Okay, well, here's another thing, which I don't know if this counts as news. What is your take on this whole Keontae Ingram's the RB1?
Well, I will say, I didn't say it last night, but I had this little thing in the back of my head, like, well, Keontae Ingram was the clear backup to James Conner before the neck injury. Like, would it be all that shocking if he's now the guy, if he's healthy? And apparently not. Look, it's just depth chart. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that, like, anything. But I think it's got to be worrisome that maybe we don't just see one guy get all the work now. Like it might be, maybe it is Ingram and DeMarcado splitting the reps, or maybe DeMarcado more in there on passing down and Ingram more in there on early downs. I don't know, but yeah. So I'm not sure. Please help. I mean, I guess we're just talking about it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but look, I think the name here that I like, that I might like the most, that I feel like is really going under the radar, is Deontay Foreman, because it's not a tough matchup against the Vikings. Rashawn Johnson's still in the concussion protocol, and really the only other guy they have is Darrington Evans, who they just signed off the street like this week. You know what I mean? Like, if Rashawn Johnson doesn't play this week, we're going to see a lot of Deontay Foreman. So you might just be rolling with Foreman this week, honestly.
Yeah. So first thing is that, like you said, Foreman, Johnson didn't practice. Now there's still a chance he comes back because they did play on Thursday, so he's got a little longer than usual. But if he's not practicing by Friday, then I'd say Foreman looks like the guy because he gets to play the Vikings and he's going to get all the touches.
Yep.
Now I know this because I don't tweet that often, but I felt compelled to because I saw this on Twitter, something about Keontae Ingram. He's good. He's the guy now. I was like, okay, look, Keontae Ingram, besides coming back from injury, out of all, there's a stat called success rate, right? Rushing success rate. Out of 162 players, he is 159th in success rate this year. The only guys he's better than are Deuce Vaughn, Dearness Johnson, Deion Jackson, who was cut by the Colts, and Tua, who has run the ball like 2 times. He's averaging for his career less than 2 yards per carry. Now, he doesn't have that many carries, but I'll tell you what, every time he takes the ball, he doesn't go more than 2 yards because he had negative yardage his first game this year. He had like 2 yards in his second game. The point I'm trying to make is he's not good in the NFL, not good. I think this is, we usually see this in the preseason, the whole depth chart thing where, the veteran over the rookie. I think they're just trying to pretend that they're not just giving the job to Demercado. I think that's all this is. I think this is a bluff. I think this means nothing. I think Demercado goes out there and gets 80% of the touches, if not more. So not picking up Ingram, not interested in Ingram. But I might like Foreman better. All right. What about a wide receiver and a flex between Nico, Lockett, Flowers, Palmer? I'm going to say no to Higgins.
I think you got to go Lockett this week. It's in the spot to blow up. Man, it's hard to bench. It's hard to bench Nico. But I really like Flowers again this week. And he should have blown up last week. I mean, he really should have. And it wasn't like one of those like he should have blown up because of the matchup. It's more like he should have blown up because he dropped 2 passes and slipped on another long one. And the thing I like about Flowers, he went from a guy early in the year where it was just very low ADOT throws to now he's getting targeted down the field. Now you don't have to worry about like, oh yeah, he's going to catch 8 passes for 50 yards. It's like, no, now he's going to catch 8 passes for 150 yards if he catches 8 passes. So I think I'm going Lockett and Flowers, but I get it if you want to go Nico. Nico's probably I guess like the don't do anything crazy choice. You know what I mean? Like just play it smart and go Nico. But I do really like Flowers this week. I'm going Lockett and Flowers.
I'm going Lockett and Flowers too. I mean, Flowers gets Tennessee. Can't get better as a matchup. He's the number 1 guy there. Like you said, could be in line for an actual big game finally. And I'm definitely starting Lockett. So that's it. All right. And then Jason, he's asking, would you trade Puka to get Kyron Williams because he already has Kupp? Worried about his running back depth because his running backs right now are Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, had James Conner, and then Deontay Foreman, Kareem Hunt, Josh Kelly, and guys like that.
I mean, it's probably fair. I prefer Puka because again, I do have long-term concerns for Kyron. I keep talking about it. Like you talked about how bad Keontae Ingram is. Now, look, I mean, Kyron Williams hasn't been nearly that bad. But I mean, you look at Kyron Williams on Next Gen Stats. I'm pulling it up right now. Kyron Williams is at negative 72 rushing yards over expectations. That's 72 yards less than he should have, which is only ahead of Ramondre Stevenson for qualified running backs. But here's the difference. Unlike Ramondre Stevenson, who's faced 8 or more defenders in the box on 20% of his carries, Kyron Williams has faced zero time, not one time has he faced. He gets light boxes every time he gets the ball, and he's still terrible. Anyways, that's my brief weekly Kyron Williams rant. So I have worries about him long term. like A, being effective, and B, like not just the Rams just having to be like, okay, we can't do this anymore. This guy's killing us.
Let me show
So
you too. I wasn't going to put up the whole roster because I want to spend too much time here, but here it is. He did post it. I mean, I'm looking at this roster. Like, I'm not crazy about your wide receiver depth, to be honest. So I don't even think I want to trade away Puka because behind Puka and Cup, you have what, MT, McLaurin?
yeah, that's true. I mean, you can look. Hopefully, Aaron Jones is back next week after the bye and healthy. You got Derrick Henry. You got Herbert. Hopefully, Herbert should be back in 2 to 3 weeks. He should be back to being the lead guy there. So I think you're okay at running back. Yeah, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do
Yeah,
this.
I'm not doing it. Hold on to Puka. You'll be all right. Just hope Aaron Jones comes back. But I mean, I guess you could just roll with Foreman this week and be okay. All right, let's get to our first set of super chats here. Legit. Marcus WJ, would you trade Saquon or JT for Lamb and Olave? Huh. Oh, with Ford or Watson. Okay, so you're saying Saquon or JT with Ford and Watson? Okay, I'm trying to figure that. Is this a 3 for 2?
Yeah. I mean, I assume if you're doing this, like if you're getting Lamb and Olave, you must be like really good at running back. Like if you're like, I can trade Saquon and Jerome Ford and get 2 wide receivers, I'm assuming you're really strong at running back. Because you're like, I can do without these 2 running backs, and you must really need wide receiver. I mean, I have to assume that because otherwise this trade doesn't really make any sense. So if that's the case, then yeah, I think you can do this. I think you can do this. Like if you're like, hey, maybe you went really heavy running back early and you got, CMC, then you took Saquon in the second, and then, I don't know, maybe you got Travis Etienne, and then of course you drafted JT later because he was on PUP, and then, then you're like, hey, I got CMC, I got Etienne, I got Saquon, I got JT, I got all these running backs. Like, okay, then yeah, this trade makes sense. But if this is gonna like clear out your running back room, don't do this.
Right. Running back depth is it's hard to come by. Okay, so if he does this though, who would you rather trade away, Saquon or JT?
I don't know. They feel pretty similar to me, honestly. They feel pretty similar. Yeah, I don't really feel like much like I don't feel like one or the other is significantly like I like one significantly more than the other. So if the guy giving me or girl giving me Lamb and Olave is like, well, I prefer Saquon, okay, that's fine. If he's like, I prefer JT, okay, that's fine. I don't really feel like there's going to be a huge difference between these guys. Maybe like this week if Saquon plays and JT isn't getting a full workload, but within a week or two, these guys should be pretty similar, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's like not a big difference. Saquon, like, wow, man, that offense looks terrible. With JT now, I mean, Anthony Richardson's not going to be there. Who knows? Maybe even the rest of the season now. And then like Zach Moss is still kind of there. Like, so I guess if I had to pick, I'd rather trade away JT, but it's pretty close. Python dropping in just to remind everyone, give us a thumbs up. Appreciate that. And if you're just joining us, then also, these comments, by the way, we're getting to the super chats. We're just still catching up for the people who put comments before we went live. So yeah, that's why we always run behind because y'all are on top of things. Get the notifications on, and then that's how we'll be live. But it's easy to remember we're basically live every single day. All right, Pedro. Got it. 10-team PPR league with Hertz, McCaffrey, Cook, Puka, Devontae Smith, Hawk, Garrett Wilson on the bench, Brian Robinson. Okay, so here's the choices: Burrow or Purdy. I mean, this week I think it has to be Burrow.
Well, hold on. I think there's two. I'm confused. It looks like there's two teams in here. There's a 10 PPR and a 10 half PPR. So it says 10 PPR Hurts, Caffrey, Cook, Puka, Smith, Hawkinson, Wilson, bench, Brian Robinson. And then it says 10 half PPR, Burrow,
Like a
Purdy,
different
Madison,
team.
Moss.
Oh, I
And then,
see. Okay, so we got two teams. Well, I guess what are the questions? Is like, would you change anything?
yeah, I mean, I guess it's like, are we starting Brian Robinson over any of these guys? Are we flexing Brian Robinson over Garrett Wilson?
Yeah, actually, I think I am.
Yeah, against the Eagles. Yeah, I'm probably putting Brian Robinson over Garrett Wilson. And then the half PPR, I mean, it's got to be Burrow, right? Over Purdy.
Got to be Burrow. Yeah.
Yeah, Burrow back to like, look, he was actually running around. Like, I don't know if you saw much of that game, but like he was running away from pressure. Had that escapability again in the pocket. He's healthy enough. It's got to be Burrow. And then are we starting Gainwell, Garrett Wilson, or Spears over any of these guys?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't love Madison and Moss in a 10-team league, as your starters. But if your only best option is Spears, I just stick with it.
Yeah. Are we starting Garrett Wilson over McLaurin? Probably not, right? Even though I don't really want to start McLaurin.
Nope. No, I think you're good. Just switch out Robinson for Garrett. And then, of course, definitely Burrow. All right, then Dan. Welcome back, Dan. Dan Fuller, rate my team. Got 12 team. And any moves. Burrow, AR, Stafford, Etienne, JT, HM, McLaughlin, Chase, Jefferson, Nico, Higgins,
Oof, man.
Downs. Oh, man, you got like the all injury team here.
Well, obviously, this team, like you would ask us to rate this team last week, we would have said this team's fantastic. I'm gonna have to assume it's super flex because you have Burrow, Anthony Richardson, and Stafford. So I'm gonna assume it's super flex. But I mean, man, you had Travis Etienne, JT, Achan, you had Jefferson, Chase, and Jefferson in a 12-teamer with Higgins and
Must
Nico.
must have been a trade here.
I mean, look, this all I can say is this team is stacked but injured right now. If you can hang on until Achan and Jefferson come back, if you can just stay afloat, win a couple games, this team will be stacked down the stretch. Just absolutely stacked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this team can hold on to Jefferson. I'll just say, look, they said he said he was going to play this week, right?
Well, next week when they come back from bye, yeah.
This coming week. So, yeah, you're going to activate him soon. Drop Elijah Moore. Just do it. You don't need him.
Yeah.
Pick up anybody. You have Taylor and Etienne. You're solid at running back. If it's super flex, you're fine. If it's not super flex, just drop AR. You could probably drop Stafford too. But yeah, just drop Elijah Moore and
I'm pretty sure this team can get by even without Achan and Jefferson. You should still be able to win some games.
Yep. So
well done on this team, man. Great job.
It's still really good. Yeah, for a 12 team.
For a 12-teamer, very well done.
And then Hamad. Trade away Fields and Evans for Trevor Lawrence, Achan, and Zay Flowers. So he's got Puka, Olave, Ridley, Rashid, Saquon, Jacobs, Spears, McLaughlin, Laporta, and Goddard. 2 and 3. This is a standard league. So Fields and Evans for Lawrence, Achan, and Flowers.
You got Puka, Olave, Ridley. I mean, yeah, you don't really need Evans.
Right. I mean, would you say that Evans for Flowers is, pretty close?
I mean, I think as of now, you probably got to slightly prefer Evans.
But there's not a big gap.
Right. It's not a big gap. And I think you got to also prefer Fields to Trevor Lawrence.
So taking a slight hit at those two for the HN stash.
Now, I will say we didn't talk about him today. He did officially go on IR today, so it is at least 4 weeks. I'm a little nervous for Achan because today when they asked Mike McDaniel about surgery, Mike McDaniel said, I don't know. And
Yeah,
Mike
he didn't say anything.
McDaniel, he either says yes or no if he knows, or he says, I don't know if he really doesn't know. So I don't know means he really doesn't know, which means I guess the good side is he might not have surgery. But the bad news is he still might have surgery, right? But if it comes out that he's not going to have surgery, then this will end up being good for you. I still think it's a deal you probably have to make because of what Achane could do for your team down the stretch. So yeah, I think it's still a good deal for you.
I think it's worth it because I do think that Trevor Lawrence will be startable the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Fields all of a sudden looks great, and you're thinking, yeah, he could wreck fantasy, but he's not running, so that's why I worry. Like maybe he's not going to. I think he's obviously a guy you have to start, but I think Trevor Lawrence will be fine. I'm not, gonna say it's a downgrade to go from Evans to Flowers, not that much. I think it's worth it because you're really not taking a hit anywhere. I think it's worth a shot. Python did have a question here. So after trades, 10 team, one quarterback, 6 rushing, passing TD. Okay, Hurts, T-Law, Hall, Gibbs, Algier, Wilson, AJB, Lamb, Ridley, Waddle, London, Moore, Goddard. Commit Pitts. Trade Waddle for Pollard.
Yeah, I do it for your team because you got Hall, Gibbs, Algier, and Jeff Wilson at running back. But you've got AJ Brown, Lamb, Ridley. Like London as your wide receiver 4 is fine. Like, yeah, it's not as good as Waddle as your wide receiver 4, but it's good enough. And you can't, I mean, Dan Campbell today basically told us what we already know. Jahmyr Gibbs is just a change pace back. They literally spent the number 12 pick in the NFL draft, the 12th pick in the NFL draft on a change of pace back. They actually did it. The Lions actually did it and somehow are still good. Like no one's going to care because they're good. It's like they're not going to get roasted for that pick because they're good. So yeah, in this case you can do it because you definitely need Pollard more than you need Waddle.
This is why I'd say the Lions don't deserve to be a Super Bowl team. This is so annoying. This is why guys like the greatest running back in history, Barry Sanders, and one of the best, Cal Johnson, just are like, nah, I'm good. Like I'll just retire early so I don't have to play for Detroit anymore. Yeah, you can do this. I think it's fine. Big Lushness, can you do this? Zach Charbonnet and Addison for Devontae.
Is it fair? I would not say it's fair. It's very good for whoever is getting Devonta Smith. So if you're getting Devonta Smith, do it. If you're sending this offer, like if you're saying like, hey, is this a fair offer? You're thinking about sending that out. Look, Addison has a lot of steam right now with the Jefferson injury. Devonta Smith hasn't done anything. Maybe it'll get it done. But in my opinion, it's not fair. But you should still try it.
Yeah, look, Addison right now is going to get a lot of helium because of the Jefferson injury, so I think it's worth a shot. I mean, Charbonnet's done nothing for people to say, well, let me trade for him, but try it. See what apparently people are down on Devontae Smith to the point that they're just dropping him.
Yeah.
Not most people, but some people. Frosif, trade Mixon or Kyron for Achane. Here's where you got JT Swift, Kyron Mixon. 3 and 2. Okay, so the guy who has Achane doesn't want to wait.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, either of these guys, honestly.
I'm doing it. It's just a question of which one. I think I'm fine parting with Mixon.
Yeah, I'm fine parting with Mixon, but I'm fine parting with Kyron too. Again, you take touchdowns out of the equation for Kyron, he's giving you nothing. And Mixon hasn't scored touchdowns, which is why he's giving you nothing. This could flip. Like Mixon could go out there this week, somehow score 2 touchdowns, Kyron scores 0, and suddenly like we like Mixon more.
Which I actually had that thought for a moment today, looking at like running back rankings. Like, what if this is the week against Seattle where Mixon has his, the positive regression? Like last year, remember he didn't do anything, and all of a sudden he had that like 5 touchdown game. Yeah, I was like, what if this is the week where Mixon scores like 4 touchdowns?
It could be
randomly, and then goes back to being mediocre. But anyways.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, it definitely could be. So I would trade either of these guys for Achane for your team because you got JT, you got Swift. You'll have one of these guys. Right. You should be okay until Achane comes back.
Mixon's your number 4 running back. trade him, take HN, and just have to point out Frosif and anybody else who has this particular roster set up. Totally missed opportunity again to put Taylor and then Swift. All right. Let's go to Rahul. Can't seem to get anyone to bite. Receivers are Hill, Cup, Devontae, Amon-Ra, Jacoby, Thielen. Monty needs to ship from Andre. Well, good luck.
Well, it's gonna get hard. It's gonna be hard to get people to bite on Ramondre. You're gonna have to throw. If you want to trade away Ramondre, he's gonna have to be like a throw-in with somebody who's actually putting up fantasy points. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, hey guys, I'll trade you Ramondre. It's like, okay, no, I'm good. Thanks, I'm good. But if you package him, I mean, look at your wide receivers. Like, if you package him with Thielen right now, I'll bet you can get a good return. You can get a good return.
Because I mean, you got really good receivers. Don't trade Cup or Hill at all unless somebody's giving you a Godfather offer. Devontae and Amon-Ra, sadly, these are both guys who have deflated value right now. This is not the time to trade those guys because apparently nobody wants Devontae Smith because he had like a bad game. Thielen, yeah, package Thielen away with Ramondre. Try to get a solid RB2. Kendall, 2 receiver, 2 running back at flex. Scott, Swift, Bijan, Walker, Hill, Puka, Olave, Keenan. Who to bench? I mean, nobody.
Well, at wide receiver, you got to go Hill and Keenan. I think. At running back, you got to go all 3 of those guys. But you can't bench Puka.
We have to bench somebody here. I think I have to start Swift and Bijan at running back.
Yeah. And I'm starting Hill and Keenan.
Yes, Hill and Keenan. So who do you flex? You got Walker, you got Puka, you got Olave.
If it's PPR, I'm going Puka. If it's PPR, I'm going Puka. Look, Walker could always have one of those 2 touchdown games, but he could always have a game like last week where like he doesn't do a whole lot, still scores and gives you like a decent game, right? It's like it didn't kill you or anything, but not a big game. Like Puka's still getting the targets. If it's PPR, I'm going Puka. If it's standard, I'll go Walker.
I mean, I'll assume it's PPR or at least half. In that case, I'm okay benching Walker with this lineup. This might be an 18 league. I don't know.
Right? Something.
Either Puka or Olave. I would go with Puka. He's the safer play for sure. And then it still has upside. Boone, offer my B-Rob and Ferguson to get Aaron Jones. I mean,
I don't think so.
For Aaron Jones right now?
I mean, I wasn't big on Aaron Jones coming into the season. Now he's dealing with a hamstring strain. The Packers offense. I mean, look, maybe the Packers offense needs Aaron Jones, but I mean, like, I'm not feeling. I think Aaron Jones will be okay when he's back, but I'd rather just hold Brian Robinson and Ferguson.
Yeah, Ferguson's like whatever you can do with or without him, but I think I'd rather have Robinson than Jones right now. So no, I wouldn't do this. And then quickie, Juice 420, Sun God, probably playing. But if he doesn't, it's got to be Addison.
It's got to be Addison. Gotta be Addison.
All right. Just like you, Chris, all in. 10 team, full PPR, 1 running back, 2 receivers in the flex. Got Henry, Kamara, Kyron, Nico, Pittman, Ridley, Lamb.
Oh, man. All right, well, I was gonna say let's start with running back, but I don't even know if that's because you only need one of these guys, and I'm not sure which one I feel like. I don't feel like any of these guys are must, but I also don't feel like any of these guys are like, for sure benches.
I think these are like the 3 running backs that I don't say like the least, but are probably the least in on in fantasy.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like, Kyron does get all of the snaps and he does catch some passes and he could score. Kamara gets all the work there and he's got a good matchup against Houston. Henry's like the one I probably feel the not the worst about because we don't know. Like, is Tyjae Spears going to outsnap him again? Like, is Tyjae Spears gonna you know what I mean? We don't know. So it's close between Kamara and Kyron for me at running back. I think and look, Kyron against the Cardinals, that's a great matchup. He could certainly have another 2-touchdown game this week against the Cardinals. I don't know. I think if it's me, I'm going Kyron. It's very close between him and Kamara for me.
Which is funny because you know me when I want to say, like, I have Henry, I'll just start Henry. Because he could have a 100-yard game at any point. You know that, yeah, he hasn't been as good yet this year, but yeah, I want to keep Henry in there because I don't love the other two necessarily. I know Kyron could be, but no.
My other worry with Henry this week is Baltimore. They're very good run defense, very good defense, period. So,
Right.
But anyways,
and then
it's very close there.
Two receivers,
for the 2 wide
Ridley
receivers,
and
I think
Lamb.
it's got to be Lamb and Ridley.
Lamb and Ridley, and then who to flex?
Again, oh, man. I guess Nico.
That's why I was leaning.
Yeah, probably Nico. Can't feel great about Pittman's upside with Gardner Minshew. Yeah, I'd probably go Nico in the flex.
Yep. Flex the Nico. Keith Tapp wants to know, is it okay to put both Cup and Puka?
Yeah, I mean, they combined for like 41 PPR points last week. Yes.
Definitely yes. Brian, what's up, Brian? 12 team PPR. Send DK and Pacheco to get Waddle and Ramondre. I like how you just put random bench running back to random bench receivers. Like, they really don't matter. But DK, Pacheco, Waddle, Ramondre. I think it's pretty fair.
It feels pretty fair. Like you're probably getting a downgrade, or you're probably getting an upgrade at wide receiver, but you're getting a downgrade at running back. Just my thing is like, you got Diggs, Terry, DGM, and you got Diggs, Terry, Moore, and DK Metcalf right now. Like, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with those 4 running backs. Like, I mean, 4 wide receivers. Like, I don't think Waddle, I like Waddle still. I think Waddle will still be very good, but I don't think Waddle, elevates that wide receiver room to, whoa, just a crazy wide receiver room now. Whereas Ramondre is going to drag your running back room way down. At least Pacheco, you can feel good about putting him in your lineup almost any week. Like, you can at least feel okay with it. So even though I like Waddle, I think the downgrade to Ramondre is just too much. I'm keeping DK and Pacheco myself.
Yeah, I mean, basically you're risking. I mean, you're taking a chance on a Ramondre bounce back, and you're risking having a guy that you just don't want to roll out there.
Mm-hmm.
My gut reaction is I like Waddle Ramondre better, but do I actually like Ramondre in fantasy in my lineup better than Pacheco? No, I don't think so. DK's been solid. Waddle really has kind of been disappointing this year. I don't think that continues, but
no.
Yeah, I guess the downgrade at running back isn't worth the relative upgrade at receiver. So probably don't do that. Big root, or some might say big route. Should I trade Mike Evans for Mostert? 2 and 3 has Etienne, Swift, and Mixon.
Flowers, Collins, Cooper, and Kirk. I mean, I think it's very fair, but when I look at your wide receivers, your wide receiver 1 now is going to be Amari Cooper, who I like, but not really as a 1. And then you're going to have Kirk and Flowers. You have a bunch of wide receiver 2s. But I mean, I guess, is Mike Evans really a wide receiver 1? I mean, he's putting up wide receiver 1 numbers, but would it continue? Probably not.
Yeah.
But you do have Jefferson on IR. So maybe, I mean, I would certainly prefer Mixon for Olave if you can do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm confused though, because the first one you're saying to trade a receiver for a running back, right? And then you're talking about trading a running back for a receiver.
Well, yeah, because when you lose, I mean, this is why I don't understand. Like, my wife was asking me today, like, should I trade for Jefferson? And I said, yeah. And she said, what should I offer? I said, well, he probably needs a wide receiver because he lost Justin Jefferson. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like I would never send this trade to somebody. I would never be like, hey, you lost Justin Jefferson. Give me Mike Evans. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
always try to when I try to think of trades, the first thing I think about, well, obviously the first thing I think about is, okay, what does my team need? But then I try to find people in my league who have what I need, and then I have what they need,
Right.
right?
Got to be
And
compatible.
you don't, yeah, like you need Mike Evans because you lost Jefferson. Like the Mixon for Olave trade makes a lot more sense because it's like, hey, I need a wide receiver to replace Jefferson. I don't know. I think Evans for Mostert is fair. I think you can get by with those wide receivers. I would much prefer the Mixon for Olave if you can.
And I wonder, it didn't say, is this the same team you're trading with? I mean, if this is a 2 for 2, why not do 2 for 2? But I don't know if that helps. I don't know. I'm a little confused about it, but I would say if you
Yeah,
can turn Mike Evans and Joe Mixon into Raheem Mostert and Chris Olave, I think I like
yeah,
that. So
I
I
like
would do
that
both
idea
of
too.
these deals, I guess, is what I would say.
Yeah.
And then George Dominguez is 4-1. Nice. Who do you like rest of the season? Jameson Williams or JSN?
I think I still got a bet on JSN.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah,
JSN. I did a little talk about him, a little TED talk on him in one of the videos last week. So you can watch that breakdown. What was it? Which one was it? I don't remember which one. Oh no, it was my waiver wire video. I think the waiver wire video
yeah,
talked
waiver
about
wire.
Jason. Okay. So watch that and you can hear why. RJ Colo. Hey guys, 8 full PPR, 3-2. Got Allen, Eckler, Jacobs, CD, Chase, Kelsey, Mixon. On the benches, Gibbs, Brees, Watson, Spears, Sharp, Addison. Would you trade Brees and CD for Diggs? That's a
No, yeah,
little.
I don't care about the stack necessarily. Look, I have that stack in my home league, and some weeks it's like, yeah, that's awesome, and then some weeks you're like, oh, I really wish I didn't have that stack. um, and this is just to me, it's just too much. This is just an overpay. I don't think long term there's going to be a big difference between CD and Diggs. I know right now that sounds crazy, but if CD has a couple big games, it's not going to sound crazy anymore. And look, Brees could be coming on, so I think this is an overpay for Diggs. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. A little bit of an overpay. Don't sell low on CD. It'll be all right. Look, you got an 8-team league. You've got good players. Like you don't need to mix it up. And again, stacking is good in best ball. That's very helpful. In redraft, it's not going to make your team necessarily better or worse. It just makes it easier to follow the box score. Samuel, what is up? Samuel fins up. Trade to follow. But I love that he just comments separately just to make sure we get the fins up in there. First, let's get to Zach. Zach Ames has been waiting. Need a flex. McLaughlin, Spears, Edwards, or Foreman. All are in the waiver wire. Which is your choice?
Well, if you're looking for a flex just this week, I'm going with Foreman. They already said Javonte, he's not on the injury report. He's going to play. I'm sure we'll still see a decent amount of McLaughlin. He's been too good. Like, he's been too good to bench, right? He's just been too good. But certainly that takes some of the shine off. And Spears would be my choice if you're like, hey, I'm just looking for a bench stash long term. But if you need somebody this week, I think it's going to be Foreman.
Yep. This week, go Foreman. Edwards should have smashed last week. Didn't really. McLaughlin is, I mean, I think he's still flex worthy if you need somebody, but Foreman's going to probably get more touches. Now, if Rashawn Johnson is back and good and he's going to be the lead back, okay, well, then I'll switch gears and I'll go back to McLaughlin. And then Johnny K. What's up, Johnny? Should I trade Christian Watson for Sam Howell in a 2 QB league? Lost AR and has Murray stashed away.
Man, I really don't want to, but it's 2 QB, like meaning you have to start 2, not super flex, 2 QB.
Correct.
I mean, you probably have to. I mean, I can't imagine there's anybody good on the waiver wire.
I mean, yeah, you're like, man, do I really want to trade a guy like Watson for Howell? But look, fantasy point wise, Sam Howell has not been the worst. There's several quarterbacks who have been worse than him,
True.
like far worse. You know who
Yes.
they are, right? Two of them end with Jones. And there's other guys you just don't want to consider. So I think you can, in a 2 QB league and you just lost Richardson, I mean, you don't want to, but you kind of have to. All right, let's see. Wait, we're definitely backed up. James Farrell, thank you very much. We appreciate you. Marco Pelletieri. Welcome back, Marco. Ridley, Chase Olave, and Laporta as his tight end has Hurts, has Kenneth Walker, and DeMercado. If you gave Ridley and Laporta for Tony Pollard, is that too much?
I don't. In a
Considering that
vacuum,
is
I would say no. I mean, it's it comes down to me like who would you be rolling with at tight end if not Laporta? If like someone like Komet or even Zach Ertz or somebody like that is still out there, then maybe I'm okay with it. But if it's like, no, I'm gonna have to go to the waiver wire and get, Tyler Conklin or whatever, somebody like that, then I probably don't want to do this. But I mean, you do need the running back. Like, even if Amari is the guy, like, how long is he the guy for?
right.
You can't.
Let me ask you this, just open it up because of Pollard. So we're seeing now after this first few games, the Cowboys offense, yeah, there's some issues there, but Pollard, his stats, I think in like elusiveness rating, he's like near the bottom. There's some stats about him like that he's performing personally worse than last year. Does that concern you, or do you think this is just a bigger issue? You think he turns it around, eventually?
I mean, sure, that concerns me to a degree, but I'm not like, again, I mean, look, Josh Jacobs, when you just look at Josh Jacobs as a running back this year, he's been terrible. But the last two games, he's been great because he finally got softer matchups, scoring touchdowns. Remember 2 weeks ago when everybody was like freaking out about Josh Jacobs, I said, go trade for Josh Jacobs right now before he plays the Chargers. And then he dropped a 27-point fantasy game against the Chargers. Tony Pollard gets the Chargers this week. Yeah, like the usage has been so good for Tony. I think expected fantasy points, he's RB5. Even after last week where his usage was horrible because they were getting blown out, he's still like his expected fantasy points on the season is RB5. He's due for. He's kind of like Mixon, except he's not as bad as Mixon. Although maybe he
Like
has
Mixon,
been
but twice as fast.
yeah. I think we're going to see a big Pollard game, but I still think this is like, again, I think this, like, even though you do need running back, if you have to go from Laporta to some terrible tight end and you're giving up Ridley, and now you're only left with Chase and Olave, your wide receivers, and your tight end is terrible, like, it really comes down to who you're going to put in at tight end for me.
Yeah, and obviously, if someone's trading for Laporta, they don't have a good tight end to give you. My gut says this is a little too much right now. I don't think you should need to give up that for Tony Pollard as a buy low, but maybe not that you have to give somebody else, like I said, assuming you have a tight end that's playable. Maybe see if he'll throw in somebody for depth, a running back that's startable, or maybe they've got a buy low. So I think it's a little too much, but I do agree you don't want to roll with a waiver wire pickup just for the next 4 weeks as you're starting RB2. So I think if you have to do it, you can do it. TT needs flex help. Ramondre, Rishi Rice, or Josh Reynolds.
Well, I shouldn't say it's got to be. Like, none of these guys are like sure bets, but I'm playing Rashee Rice if it's my team. He's got a good matchup. He's getting end zone targets. Like Reynolds, especially with Amon-Ra. I mean, look, I think he was limited today, and it already sounds like he's coming back. I know Ramondre gets the Raiders, and you're like, maybe this is the week, but I don't know. I can't do it. I'm going to put Rice in.
I'm going to put Rice in. Hope he gets another touchdown. He's got a good stretch here. It's the Broncos. Going to go Rice. All right, then here's Samuel Piazza, which again starts fins up. That's right. My second league got a trade to get St. Brown for my Puka and Watson. A little like a slight overpay.
Yeah, I feel like this is an overpay. Like I don't like. I mean, I have a Cup and Kyron. Should I diversify? Like, it's like I got it's like your
Too many
stock
Rams.
portfolio. Like I don't want to be like, hey, there's worse offenses to be all in on than the Rams. Um,
Oh, he's saying to get Dobbs. Okay, so if you could get St. Brown and Dobbs for Puka and Watson, it's better, but
it
still
doesn't.
too much.
No, I think this is too much for St. Brown. I don't like. I don't think St. Brown's gonna just like be significantly better than Puka. And I still think Christian Watson will be. I mean, look, he'll be who he is, right? He'll have games where that 77-yarder goes for a touchdown, and then that other touchdown late in the game where Jordan Love threw it late for the game-ending interception. He won't throw it late, and he'll score that one too. And you'll be like, yeah, Christian Watson. And then he'll have games like he had on Monday night where it's like, ah. But that's a lot of wide receivers. So I think this is too much for St. Brown.
Yeah, agree. It's a little bit. I mean, even at this point, maybe Puka for St. Brown straight up seems fair. So
Yeah.
giving up Watson too. Should you diversify? Sure. But I would say you can trade Puka and that's fine. But yeah, I think you can get more than just St. Brown if you're going to give up Watson also. George, what's up, George? George Brennan, 14 team half PPR. Oh, 1-4 with Lamar, Swift, Cook, Chase, Ridley, Addison, Kincaid, Ertz, Gainwell, Spears, Sharp. Okay, so he just traded Waddle and London for Jacobs. I think that's solid.
Yeah, I think that's solid. Chase, yeah, I mean, you've been a little unlucky. Obviously, Chase wasn't very good to start the year. Ridley had some down games there. Addison's been kind of up and down. But I think that's a good deal for you, especially in half PPR. I think that's a good deal for you.
Yeah, I think that's a
Definitely.
good deal, and I agree. I mean, for a 14-team league, you've got some good players. I think you
Yeah.
have been because look, the first 2 weeks, Chase did nothing. Week 1, Swift basically didn't play, and then when
Yeah.
Chase came on, Ridley didn't really do that much. You just kind of had players not go off all at the same time. And Lamar should be better, meaning he's been good, but he should have better fantasy points. So I think he'll be all right. Yeah, but that was a smart trade. And then let's go to Heavy Cactus.
All right.
7. The 7th in a series.
Okay, I like that it's heavy cactus 7. Like, is that just your lucky number, or were there actually 6 other heavy cactuses when you signed up?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there are 6 others, but I do think you're probably the only one with the unique avatar. I think that's pretty cool. Trade help Ridley and Rashad White for JT and JSN. 4-1, 12 team. It's a super flex where he's got Tua, CMC, Rashad Waddle, Ayuk, Ridley, Amon-Ra, Joku, and Goff.
I mean, you certainly need the running back upgrade. I mean, you got CMC, and look, Rashad White's fine, but you can't feel good about Rashad White on a weekly basis. But man, the drop off from Ridley to JSN is pretty massive right now. Pretty massive.
Yeah, the problem is we don't know if. I mean, look, I said I am advocating stashing JSN, but I'm not going to count on him in my lineup, right?
Right.
So
Is there somebody?
JT,
Can you get somebody a little bit better than JSN? Like Rashad White is at least startable, right? Like, hey, it's like,
yeah,
I mean, he plays over 70% of the snaps. He gets all the touches. He catches some passes. He's like JSN is even startable right now. You can't put JSN in your lineup. Like,
right.
can you at least get somebody startable instead of JSN?
Yeah, So I think you can do this to get, that 1-2 punch at running back. But yeah, considering that Ridley's a starter for you again, now maybe you do have somebody who's better on your bench and you just didn't put it on here. So you might have a startable receiver, but yeah, try to upgrade the JSN just a little bit. And then Bez was offered St. Brown and Love. Of course, somebody wants to offer you Love for Derrick Henry and Devontae Smith. No way.
No way. I mean,
so what can we counter with? Well, scratch Jordan Love.
Yeah, don't. The guy, whoever it is, has to give you somebody other than Jordan Love. I mean,
and he's saying he's got JT, Monty, and Ford at running back. So I think you can afford to part with Henry because you don't need him, and this might be a good time to sell him. You got Puka, Ridley, Addison, Higgins, and Palmer. So I'm okay giving up Henry and Smith, but you need to get something better. It should be St. Brown and like a receiver, like a number 2-3 receiver type, I think.
Yeah, or even like a low end RB2 or something.
Yeah.
Not Jordan Love. I mean, like, first of all, Jordan Love's on bye this week, so doesn't even help you this week. And second of all, after that great start, he's really cooled off. So yeah.
Take away Jordan Love. He should be like even like a Tyler Lockett type, somebody like that. Somebody who could be in every week, wide receiver 3, maybe even higher than that. Yeah. Not Jordan Love. So you can do better. Love. So counter and yeah, definitely upgrade the other side. What about Emilio? Good evening. Welcome back again. Got Fields, AR, Jimmy G. That's right. Remember, this is the 2 QB league. Okay, got Minshew and Derek Carr. Between those two, I think it's got to be Carr.
Yeah, this week I would go Carr.
And then very similar question, Mondre or Rice?
Yeah, I'm going Rice. It's just, look, I know it's the Raiders, but it's not like, I mean, okay, AJ Dillon did score, but I mean, it's not like the Packers offense went nuts against the Raiders. I mean, it's still the Patriots offense. I would just gamble with Rice personally.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rice. And I think Carr will be solid. Look, he hasn't been great the last 2 games, but one of them he was playing with an injured shoulder, shouldn't have been playing, and last week did not have to pass the ball at all down the field. So, all right, let's get to AB. What is up? 12 team PPR got Hurts, Walker, B-Rob, Chase, Wilson, Waller, Olave, Ford, JMO, QJ, Charb, Kendre, and Eli. What do we do? A little bit better receiver depth, maybe. I mean, Garrett Wilson. We don't want to be starting Garrett Wilson in a 12-team league.
Yeah, this feels like a good time to try to package like Garrett Wilson and Jameson Williams, who does have like name value. Both of those guys have name value. And maybe try to get I would trade those guys for Jacoby Myers, honestly.
That's a good name.
I feel like Jacoby Myers is a guy you can just put in your lineup every week. People are going to be like, oh yeah, Jacoby Myers. And then every week he's going to give you like a good game. Something like that.
Yeah.
But you also kind of need
solid number 3 receiver. I mean, yeah, I don't want to be starting Waller, but how can you really upgrade a tight end without overpaying these days? I mean, this is a 12. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember, honestly, AB. I don't remember if you've had injuries at running back, but, Walker would prefer as in your number 2 running back as opposed to your number 1. Like, you don't really have a number 1 running back, but I just hate to say your bench is filled with youth and upside, not trade value.
Yes.
So pretty much that's all you can do. All right, then we got iHendo. 10-team full PPR 2 and 3. Trade Monty, Achane, and Jefferson for Devontae, Bijan, and Dobbs. Oh, this is a 10-team league. He's got Etienne, Ridley, and Amon-Ra. I mean, I guess
I don't think so.
losing record.
It's that Dobbs part that just killed it for me. I was like feeling this trade until Dobbs. It's like Monty, okay, Achane, okay, Jefferson, okay, Devonta, okay, Bijan, okay, Dobbs. Like what? Wait, what? What? Like all these like huge names and then Dobbs. Because like you're 2-3. It's not like you're dead in the water. You win this week, you're 3-3. Yeah, I don't think this is enough for those guys. Like the Dobbs just kills it for me.
Well, how about this? Can we? Look, if you have, I get it. It sucks having two guys who are now just put on IR. You don't have to trade them both away. How about you do Monty and Achane for, Bijan and hey, try
Dobbs.
Devontae. I don't think he'll do it, but maybe Devontae, and if not, work your way down, like somewhere in between Devontae and Dobbs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think try a 2 for 2 instead. All right, let's go to Steven. Welcome back. Trade effort failed. I love that. Rage grabbed Osborne for spite. That is the best comment I've seen in a while. Rage grabbed him for spite. That's totally something I would do too. So who to flex? Osborne, White. So do we rage flex Osborne?
Yes, I think I rage flex Osborne. Even if I'm not raging, I still flex Osborne. I mean, he should have a nice game this week. It's a good matchup. He should get more targets. I go Osborne, yes.
Yeah. Spears, not unless you have a better option. Yeah. Go Osborne. I know it is knowing. Well, what people want for injured JJ, it depends a lot on the league. Some people are giving away for nothing because they're just like, this guy's done. The Vikings they're gonna trade Kirk and then they're just gonna tank, like as if that's what happens in the NFL. And then some people are like, oh, you want JJ? All right, give me Jamar Chase. So
right.
It depends on the league you're in. But you know the answer. All right, Chief Perp, start 2 running backs, 2 flex. Barkley, if he plays. Etienne, Kyron, Swift, Jacobs, Montgomery, Walker, or Collins. And only 2 running backs, but also 2 flex.
Well, I think I'm going Jacobs and Swift, even if Barkley plays. I think I'm flexing Etienne.
This is one where
Man,
legit have to worry about Barkley. Like, maybe we don't just rush him back in the lineup because you have so many other good running backs. I mean, I don't know though.
Yeah, and exactly, that's the thing. You have so many other good running backs
On the road against Buffalo, it's not a smash spot for Barkley.
I'm just debating. I think we had this earlier. I'm debating Walker, Monty, or Collins in full PPR is what I'm debating right now. Because I feel like Jacob, Swift, and Etienne, I need to play them.
Yeah. I love Swift this week. Jacobs, I think you kind of have to. Etienne, not too worried about the matchup. I don't know. I think I might go Monty. He's still getting all the touches. I know it's not ideal matchup, but he's still going to get all the touches. He can score every single week. I think Walker might have a higher ceiling this week, but I don't know. It's hard for me to bench Monty right now.
Yeah, it's close. It's close between these guys. Yeah, I mean it's hard to bench Monty. I guess go Monty.
There you go.
A lot of good options here. You're probably going to have some points on your bench, unfortunately.
All right. So we already had a comment from Chris, and now we have a comment from Pierre.
All
Pierre
right.
DeCoste. Herbert, Fields, Ford, Imari. Very nice. Mixon, got Connor on IR. Not so nice. CD, Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, Lockett, Wilson, Godwin, Kirk, Goddard, Logan. 2 receivers, 2 flex, What moves would you make? Well, it's easy for me to just say, hey, upgrade at running back, but what could we do to make that happen with this squad?
I mean, package Garrett Wilson and Dallas Goedert.
Goddard, that's interesting. I thought you were gonna look for well, yeah, I guess we don't really want to sacrifice depth at running back because
Yeah. I mean, you
Mixon, I
need
was like, Mixon, but yeah, you need to keep that. So yeah, you're right. Garrett Wilson.
and maybe try to get like James Cook.
It seems fair.
Somebody like that. Like maybe the guy who has James Cook has no tight end. I'm still a little nervous for Goddard. I'm not fully bought back in for Goddard here. So I think you're selling high on him. You got Logan Thomas. He's fine.
Yeah. I mean, rather have a solid RB2 than a tight end. So
Yeah, that's what I would
yeah.
try to do.
Now
It doesn't have to be James Cook, but like a running back like that. Like go look at your league. Who's desperate at tight end? Like who's rolling out some terrible tight end? Offer them Garrett Wilson and Goddard and see if you can get a good running back in return.
looking at this now too, I think this is not a super flex league. He just had 2 flex. He got Herbert and Fields. I think you definitely try to trade Fields and see what you can get.
That's true too. Fields is another good person to trade because he's got a ton of value now again.
Yeah,
Yep.
you don't need unless look, you really want the Fields DJ Moore stack rest of the season, and you think, well, I'll get more for Herbert. Herbert's the number 1 QB. I think I'm fine with that too. If you can get more for him, if people aren't in on Fields, I would trade one of those quarterbacks though, and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
So there you go. Try to upgrade at running back. All right, let's do some quick regular chats, guys. I know we're running behind. So we're going to do our best to catch up. If you did drop a super chat anytime in the past almost hour, we have yet to get there. We're going to get there, but let's do some of the regular chats just to make sure that y'all know we don't require you to actually super chat. OGS, Real McCoy, Logan Thomas, or Kyle Pitts?
I'm picking up Kyle Pitts. I'm picking up Kyle Pitts for sure.
Yep, that's what I would do. And if I were in a really competitive league where Kyle Pitts was out there on waivers, I would make sure to drop at least $24 of fab on him.
Yes.
Let's see, that one will take too long. Okay, Frank Fan. Is DJ Moore a must start this week?
I mean, yes. Why? Because he's been great.
Because he's a top 10 receiver so far in the season, and Justin Fields looks legit. And he plays the Vikings, who are one of the worst. Are they the worst pass defense or just the second worst?
No, I think they're like 4th.
Oh, like, okay. Only the 4th worst, but
yeah. But they're pretty bad. Yeah.
Oh boy, this one might actually physically hurt you. Ritter or Jimmy G this week?
Wow. Who do the Raiders play? Patriots? That's gonna give me Ritter. I'll chance it with Ritter.
Wow. Lower on Jimmy G than Ritter. All right.
I mean, that Patriots Raiders game could be like that Monday night game where there's like no scoring and neither team does anything. Yeah.
All right. So you're a believer in Ritter. We got that.
Yeah.
Mark it down. Ritter believer. All right. How about Michael Norvell? Trade Kyron for Higgins.
Definitely give me Higgins. Give me Higgins rest of the season over Kyron. Definitely.
Great time to buy low on Higgins, but don't start him this week. And then Jeff White. So hit the like button.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
What about Oliver Flowers? We're talking garnishes, decoration. I'm guessing Olave.
Yeah, I'm going Olave still. I like Olave this week. Check back tomorrow morning for the video I talk about Olave, why I like him so much. I do like Flowers too, but I'm still going with Olave. He's got week winning upside this week.
Yes, go Olave. He'll get better. Joe, what's up, Joe? Joe Castles, that is. Who is your top 2 streamer quarterbacks this week? Streaming, I mean, it depends who's available, of course, but just generally speaking, who would you like if you could plug and play?
Well, yeah, I have this dilemma in one league where I lost Anthony Richardson. No, I think I got Dak in that league actually. But I have a league where I've been streaming QB And I'm looking at the waiver wire, and it's like Baker Mayfield is like the best option. It's not pretty.
It's not
Not
good.
pretty this week, but I will say if Russell Wilson is still out there, I like Russell Wilson. He actually hasn't been bad for fantasy. And it is the Chiefs, so they probably are going to be playing from behind, and he's probably going to have to throw a lot. Look, Dak might be on a lot of waiver wires right now. I got Dak in that league where I lost AR. I added Dak for free, and it was an Endgame league. I added him for $0. I added Dak Prescott for $0.
Wow.
He gets the Chargers this week. So look, if Dak's out there, I like Dak a lot.
And coming off by, Geno Smith might be flown out there because somebody had to drop him. Gets a good matchup against the Bengals. They might have to pass a lot now that the Bengals actually are scoring points. So I think that's a good one too. And then if you're deep and desperate, there's just not a lot out there. Maybe Sam Howell. I don't love him, but that might be your best option. And then not Castles, but still Joe. Joe with the very cute dog emoji, or not emoji, avatar. Start with Rashad White and Moss over guys like Mondre, Amari, or Spears.
I mean, I'd probably start Rashad White over those guys. Do I start Moss? I mean, like Moss is like the.
I know. Moss is the guy who's going to give us headaches.
Can we just get 70% snap of JT just to simplify that backfield, like so we don't have to think about it anymore? Because it's like.
I mean, there's one league where I'm keeping Moss in, not because I really, really want to, but just because my other option, I think, is Ramondre Stevenson. Honestly, I think I have Moss over Mondre this week. DeMarcado's the one I would say maybe go with. I'm not worried about that report, but
yeah, I might go White. I might go White and Amari.
Yeah,
but
that's what
look, Moss. It's hard to bench Moss after last week and what he's done.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I think you're okay with White and Moss, but if let's wait and see, right? I guess let's wait and see what we hear about this whole Arizona thing. Keep it the way it is now, and if you need to pivot to Amari, you can. Colin Smith, thoughts on Russ? Well, you kind of just mentioned this.
Yeah, I kind of like Russ. I mean, if you look at him, he's put up pretty nice fantasy games almost every single week. They're probably going to be playing from behind. I like Russ.
Yep, Russ is definitely a streaming candidate. Don't sit your regular starting QB just because you feel like he's going to have a blow-up game, but
no,
he's somebody that you could start.
Yeah, I don't feel like Russ is going to have a blow-up game. That's for
sure. Right. Trevor Lawrence or Kirk Cousins?
Ooh.
It would have been a no-brainer, but without Justin
I
Jefferson,
think I got to go Trevor Lawrence at home against the Colts. I'm not completely out on Cousins. I think they're still going to have to throw a ton. But at home against the Colts, Lawrence should have a good game. I'm going T-Law.
Yep. T-Law is still kind of underachieving, but I feel like he should be doing better. He will be doing better at some point. Remember, they've been overseas for 2 weeks. Coming back to get the Colts, I'm going to go Lawrence and just not risk Kirk Cousins looking terrible without his safety blanket. Keith with another one. Keith Tapp. Fields, Richardson, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Gus, Rashawn, Tyjae, Kupp, Sun God, Puka, Amari, Watson, Deontay, Mark Andrews. Any changes to this lineup? So we got Bijan, Jones.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't play Jones this week. He's on bye.
And Rashawn might not play. I guess you have to start Gus.
Yeah, I will say if Rashawn does clear concussion protocol, he's my RB2. If not, yeah, probably Gus. Kupp, Sung-Ha, Puka, yeah, it's fine. Other than that, it's fine. Yeah, obviously, Watson on bye, but I don't think you're playing him because you got Kupp, Sun God, Puka, Amari. You probably don't need Watson this week anyway. So,
yeah, I think these receivers are in order of a preference.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty good. All right, and then next up is he's back, the Terminator.
Oh,
right. Starting CD, DJM, flexing the Sun God. Bench has Ayuk, Jones and Watson on bye, Moss, Hollywood Dell. This is a 10-team league. Any advice? I mean, you have to start those 3 guys. Well, I don't
Yeah.
know. Ayuk?
I mean, trade one of these wide receivers, get a stud running back. Or really, I mean, I don't know what you're running. Maybe your running back room is stacked too, but you have CD, DJ Moore, Amari, or Monroe St. Brown, Ayuk, Christian Watson, Hollywood Brown. Like, man, you got a lot of wide receiver points on your bench every week. I don't know what your running backs look like, but if you could package like Brandon Ayuk and Aaron Jones, who people still has that name value, and get like a Tony Pollard or something, like this team can handle that, no problem. So I'd be looking to do something like that with this team.
Yeah, I think so. You don't want Ayuk just sitting there rotting on your bench, putting up points. So he's the guy, I think. Unless if DJ Moore's value is that high in the mind of someone else where you can get like an RB1 for him, sure, I'll trade him. But otherwise, Ayuk, I think, is the guy because he's the odd man out right now, and his value is probably higher than CD. So try to flip him to upgrade at running back. And look, if you can package Ayuk and Jones to get a stud running back, do it. Tyler Michael, we need to start 2. JT Moss, Javonte McLaughlin. So, are we going to see the rare 2 running backs from the same team in my fantasy lineup stack here? The JT Moss.
I mean, I guess I probably like the JT Moss stack better than the Javonte McLaughlin stack.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, how do we know what we're going to get from JT this week? We really don't. Are we going to trust McLaughlin's going to outscore him? Are you going to put JT on your bench for McLaughlin?
No,
I don't see that happening.
No, I'm playing JT and Moss, honestly. And like, look, hey, worst case, if it's like last week, that's okay. Like,
yeah, exactly.
If Moss goes off and JT doesn't, you'll still be okay.
I mean, it saves you from the headache of worrying about which guy to start and picking wrong.
Exactly.
Look,
think about it.
No one's vulturing goal line touches like Anthony Richardson. They're going to run the ball probably 40 times if they can afford to.
Yep.
Let's see. Quick one here. Keith Evans, 5-0. That's what we want to see. Logan Thomas or Zach Ertz. They do both have good matchups.
I like Ertz. This week. The Rams have been really, really bad against tight ends. Remember last week, Dallas Goedert had 88 yards coming into that game, and then he had 111 in one game. Like, he literally had more yards in one game than he had in the 4 previous games combined. Like, they are awful against tight ends. Ertz gets the targets. He gets end zone targets, red zone targets. I'm going Ertz.
Going Ertz. Both have good matchups, like you said. But Ertz is more reliable. The Washington offense so unpredictable. Like Thomas, a bunch of targets last week because they were coming from behind. Might not be that pass heavy this week. Almost definitely won't be as pass heavy as last week. I don't even think that's possible. What about Marco? Matthias Rodriguez. Drop Judy for Sanders just for depth.
No. I mean, Sanders is trending the really wrong direction right now. Now he's dealing with a shoulder injury. He had that groin injury. He is losing work to Chuba Hubbard. He's trending down. I would just keep Judy.
Yeah. Sanders, I don't know what's up with him. Not healthy. Offense is terrible. So I would try to trade Judy for whatever just to trade him. But Sanders is not a guy that you need to stash. And then Terminator wants to know, go after Swift. I mean, sure, but you got Jacobs and Brian Robinson. Let me go back to it so we can see. He says, because he's got those 3 receivers, right? And we said, okay, I mean, Ayuk for Swift.
Yeah, I don't know if that gets it done. You probably, I mean, maybe Ayuk, Aaron Jones, maybe Ayuk, Brian Robinson. I'd be okay with that. I mean, you're basically turning Aaron Jones or Brian Robinson into Swift, and you're getting rid of a wide receiver that you don't really need. So even though it might look like a bit of okay, this is how I used to crush my home league. They don't let me do this anymore. But when I would have a team like you have here, Terminator. I would overpay for a player like Swift. I would send a trade offer that's like too much for Swift. But it made my team a monster because it's like, okay, I'm upgrading. Like, I would trade like a good running back on my bench and a good wide receiver that I was never starting. And then I would get like a stud. And even though it looks like it's hard to say no to that trade, when that trade hits your inbox, you're like, oh, these guys are both really good. How do I say no to this? Like, and it worked. It worked all the time. It works all the time. Not as much in like, sharper leagues, but in like your more casual leagues, it works all the time. Because if you see those two really good players in your inbox, it's hard to say no, but it makes your team better because Swift is a significant upgrade over Aaron Jones, and Ayuk is rarely ever going to crack your starting lineup outside of injuries and buys. So, and look, Hollywood's been very good, and Christian Watson is a guy you can plug and play anytime you want. So, yeah, I would package Ayuk and Brian Robinson or Aaron Jones to get Swift, definitely.
Right. It helps your starting lineup and not just you're trading a guy on your bench because, what if, some guy was hurt like last week, he missed, right? You have Christian Watson and Hollywood, if you have to tank, you have enough depth to cover it. So there you go. Do that. And we have a message from Thy Messenger.
All right.
Defense in an 8-man league.
All right. I'm going to have to look at the schedule here.
We got Baltimore. I'm going to just say hard no to the Raiders. Detroit, Rams, not Minnesota. Okay, we got a lot of defenses there. Can't start Cleveland. They're going against the 49ers.
Yeah.
I don't think I want Indy, New Orleans.
I think it's got to be Baltimore against the Titans. I mean, you don't have to worry about the Titans putting up a lot of points. Ryan Tannehill will take sacks. He'll throw interceptions. I think for me, it's got to be Baltimore here.
Yeah, I think offhand, the only other team, I think maybe the Lions. But look, Baker Mayfield hasn't been turning it over. Yeah, it's got to be Baltimore.
Yeah.
Blondes hedge. KJ Osborne, Gabe Davis, or Nico this week?
Nico is a smart play, the safe play. But I really like Gabe Davis this week. Against the Giants, he's been looking good. I think I'm going with Gabe. I mean, like, Nico's like the smart, like, hey, don't do anything crazy. Just put Nico in your lineup and move on. But Gabe is like let's go for it. Yeah, I think I'm going Gabe, honestly.
Who does Gabe play this week? The Giants? I'm going Gabe. I'm going Gabe. Sure, there's a lower floor, but I don't care. I'm going Gabe. And then we got a new subscriber, the legendary one. All right. Welcome. Would you trade Breece Hall or Walker to get Mostert? I think it's too risky.
Yeah, I think it's still too risky. Look, Achan's not out for the season. Right. I mean, as far as we know, let's hope not. Yeah, that's too risky. Not doing it.
We can't forget that Raheem Mostert has his own pretty long injury history, and he's by far older than both those running backs. Just saying, Mostert is going to be a great smash start, and he'll have some huge games if he stays healthy. But also, Achane will come back at some point. At least I really, really, really hope so. And then I don't even know that Mostert's better than either of those guys for the rest of the season anyway. So, no, I wouldn't do that. You don't want to buy on Mostert right now. All right, we're going to keep going, catching up on the super chats. So this is a good time because it's about halftime for us. So if you weren't with us at the top of the show, just want to remind everybody that Underdog is the place to go for all your pick'ems, your weekly drafts, and this is the perfect time to try. If you have not tried Underdog, we have a lot of new viewers, new subscribers today to the channel. Love seeing that. Thank you guys for joining us. If you're not aware, if you have not tried Underdog yet, look, not just saying this because of the promo code and the offers here, but we've been using Underdog for years, right? We are loyal users of it, and so we're basically really thrilled that we are partnered with them now. I mean, they're getting huge, and it's for a reason because it's the best platform. All these offers right now. Let me start with the first one. You're a new user, you sign up, use promo code Endgame, you get a deposit match 100% up to $500. That means every dollar you put in up to $500, they're matching it. You're doubling your money just for signing up. And then the new customer special, you get a free pick'em of Pat Mahomes over 1 yard. Take the higher, trust me on this one. Take the higher, Pat Mahomes, half a yard, and then you pair with anything else. And then you go back and you do another pick 'em because you want to be a part of 100K Sunday. They've done this for 3-4 weeks in a row now, basically almost every week since the season started. So if you do the special, which today looks like it's Cooper Cup, and that enters you into a drawing for 10 different people going to win $10,000 from 10 people. That's 100K, right? Last week it was 1,000 people winning $100. This week it's 10 people winning $10,000. So just for using that pick in any sort of combination with anything else, you're automatically entered to win. So take the pick. All of those things are great ways to try to not only win your money, but it's a fun way to follow along with football besides your fantasy team, especially if you're just ravaged by injuries. This is a team you can root for every week because it changes and there's so many different choices. Oh, by the way, I'm sure we have some people here that love baseball. So if you're following the baseball playoffs, guess what? They have baseball too. You can take pick'ems for the playoff games. You just click right there, MLB, and look, the Braves game has already started. And you can take this either automatically refreshed in game, and you can take those picks. I like that Matt Olson one was actually a booster before the game started, and I was gonna take it. He just needs 1.5 of anything, and now he's got one. So, anyways, Mookie Betts got the boosted payout there, 1.5 bases. Any sport you're into, hockey season coming around, right? NBA is coming around, all of those things. So check out Underdog if you haven't already. Promo code Endgame to take advantage of all those offers. All right, but now let's get back to the super chats. We have Muskendal Novoa. All right, welcome. 2 and 3, half PPR. Eckler, Waddle, Ramondre, Sanders, Deshaun for Hill, Ayuk. I really hope that's Tyreek Hill, not Taysom Hill. Ayuk, Aaron Jones, and Justin Herbert. Okay, we're gonna have to really break this down. This is like half your roster for half his roster.
Eckler, Waddle, Ramondre, Sanders, and Deshaun Watson. Yes. For Tyreek Hill, I assume, Ayuk, Aaron Jones, and Justin Herbert. Eckler and Hill pretty close. I'm actually going to say Waddle, Ayuk pretty close. I sadly prefer Aaron Jones over Ramondre.
Sanders is like whatever.
Sanders is like whatever. He might be on waiver wires pretty soon. I prefer Herbert. So close, prefer. Okay, give me the Tyreek Hill side.
Yeah, I think I'm taking the right side because I had said this a while ago. I'm getting nervous about Watson. If you can take Herbert at quarterback, I think that upgrade makes it worth it because, like you said, Waddle, Ayuk are so far pretty comparable. Hill and Eckler, I mean, obviously different position, but value-wise comparable. The running backs are all just kind of like whatever. So to get the upgraded quarterback, I do it. If you're getting the right side, then yeah. All right, that's
a big boy trade right there for sure.
Sway Evans, full PPR 12-man league, 4-1. How does Etienne and Waddle for Eckler sound?
I think if you're getting Eckler here, I like it because Eckler coming back from injury should be fully healthy, good to go. We know he's a top 3 running back when he's healthy. So you don't have to worry about Etienne. Is it going to be 4 weeks? Is it going to be 5? Is he going to have surgery? Is he not going to have surgery? You don't really have to worry about it. So I'll take Eckler here.
Yep. I'm taking Eckler. there's never a situation, a roster, or a league where you don't want one of the top running backs in fantasy.
Right.
I mean, I'm not worried about Waddle. I'm not selling Waddle or anything, but I don't see how you're losing this deal. Mike, JJ for Kyron, Addison, or White. Is that an or?
This is no. I'm not trading Jefferson for any of these guys. No. I
There's
need more
no
than
combination of 2 or 3 of those guys that is enough for JJ.
no, definitely not.
He's
Like I'm
saying
not
he's
doing
1-4. I guess he's down bad, but this is trading out of desperation, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like if you could get Kyron and a good wide receiver, like look, I like Addison, but remember Addison when Jefferson comes back, like okay, now you have both these guys. Like if you can get Kyron and another wide receiver that you feel really good about, like a Waddle, Olave, Devonta Smith, one of these buy low guys, sure, I would do that. But this isn't going to help you rebound from 1-4. This is probably going to make you 1-5.
Yeah. That's the best way to put it. Look, if you're trading away JJ, I get it, but you should be getting more than this.
Yeah.
And then Michael Downey holding playoff Lenny. You know what?
What? People, whoa.
It is so ironic that you said that because Chris, you know this. In one of our leagues, I had Lenny. I just today, randomly today, I dropped him finally after holding him for the whole Dynasty.
I can't believe somebody. I am Michael.
No. Guess who I dropped him for? I'm not kidding you, Jordan Mason.
Oh yeah, why not? I mean, playoff Lenny. Like, what are we really expecting? And should I drop for? Well, yeah, obviously you say yes because you did drop Fournette for Jordan Mason. You could drop Fournette for anybody, literally anybody. Like, yeah, Leonard Fournette is not on an NFL roster, and it's week 6. Like, what do we think is going to happen here? Like, Leonard Fournette is going to. Some team is going to finally be so desperate that they're going to sign Leonard Fournette, and then you're actually going to want to put him into your fantasy lineup. Like, yeah, you can drop Leonard Fournette.
It's so weird. The exact same thing. Dynasty Superflex. Why did I have Leonard Fournette on my roster up until now?
Why?
Because it's an Endgame league and there's nothing else on waivers. Like I can't get, DeMarcado or Dowdle. Those guys are gone. Anyways,
right.
That's too funny. All right,
that's
Chase Crowley, trade JT in London to get Pacheco and Olave. I don't know. I don't know about this.
Yeah. I think I keep JT.
Yeah, it's close. I mean, it's not like a clear, but
it's always good to have the better. It's always good to have the better running back. So,
right, I don't feel like Pacheco's a guy I'll just keep in my lineup every week. No, he'll have ups and downs. So I'd rather keep JT.
Yeah.
All right, back to big routes. Remember the Evans Mostert thing? He said he was switched, so now it makes more sense. He was offering me Evans for Mostert.
All right. I still prefer the Mixon for Olave one, and I still would like it. Well, now you can't do, but I think it's fair. But I mean, I think it's fair. If you feel like you need Evans, it's fair.
Yeah, I think it's fine, but I also prefer the Mixon one. What about Chase? Derrick Henry over Zach Moss? Oh man, come on.
Okay, still got to be Derrick Henry. It's still got to be Derrick Henry for me.
And did anybody think that in the year of our Lord 2023, we would be saying that Derrick Henry just hasn't been producing like Zach Moss, and that would be a true
right?
statement. That is a fact.
Every year, fan. It's always wild. Every year.
All right, we got Joseph Johnson super sticker. Thank you. Gonna see if we can see the comment. Okay, I'm gonna look for that, Joseph. So hang tight because I wasn't attached to this. But in the meanwhile, let's throw up Tegan Powell. Welcome back, Tegan. 4-1. Trade Puka in London for Jettis. That's intriguing.
Yeah, you're 4-1. I assume you're probably pretty good at wide receiver if you're 4-1. Yeah, I would do this.
I mean, London obviously isn't starting for you because you wouldn't be 4-1. Puka, I'm assuming he's like your number 3 receiver, that you don't need him. Yeah, why not? You'll be happy come playoff time. Joseph's question: got Debo and Ayuk, wants to trade one along with Ford. Who could he get for that?
I mean,
apparently Devontae Smith is just out there available. Maybe CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I even prefer Devon? Like, do I even significantly prefer Devonta Smith to Ayuk? Though that's the thing. Like,
it could be Debo.
Yeah, I mean, if you could trade Debo and Ford for Devonta Smith, I would definitely do that.
Yeah, so trade Debo and Ford. I think to get either Lamb or Smith, I think that's both fair, but also good for you.
Yeah, if you could do it, definitely do that. Yeah.
What about Olave? You think that's fair?
Yeah, if you in the buy low video, I pretty much put Waddle, Higgins, Olave, or no,
Higgins. Yeah,
it was Higgins, Olave, and Devonta Smith. I pretty much just said, hey, like they're all kind of like very similarly valued to me. I probably should have put Waddle in there too. But yeah, so any of those guys, honestly, I think will all be very similar rest of the season.
There you go. And then JK, full PPR 10 team, got Hill, Nico Pickens, Flowers, Rice, and London. Got offers Scary Terry for London.
Whatever. Like, this
Very
is just
similar
very
guys.
like two guys you never know what you're going to get when you put them in your lineup. You feel like they should be good, but they're not good. Like, it really, this trade really feels like Spider-Man meme, right? Like, you're trading the same guy for the same guy. Like, whatever. I don't know.
And it's kind of whatever because, I mean, looking, he's going to be what, your 4th receiver anyway. So, like, he just kind of fits in with all those guys, right? Like Nico Pickens, Flowers, upside, but you never really know every week. So, I guess, sure, you can take it. Yeah. What about Kyle Miller? Trade Tyreek Hill for DJ Moore and let's just say Swift.
Yeah, it would have to be Swift. It would. Yes. No way I'm doing it for DJ Moore and Kyron. If I can get DJ Moore and Swift, and I really need running back help, I might take this. But you have to. It has to be Swift, and you have to really need running back help. Like, if Swift is your RB3 or your RB4 now, like, no, don't do it. But see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, when we talked about earlier for Terminator, like, let's say the team with DJ Moore and Swift already has like great running backs. Like, they're never going to play Swift. Now they're basically turning DJ Moore into Tyreek Hill, and they're sending an offer that's almost impossible to say no to. But now they're turning DJ Moore into Tyreek Hill, and it makes their team even stronger. But anyways, it's still a good deal for you if you take it, assuming you need Swift.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason you should be even entertaining the idea of trading a guy like Tyreek Hill is because you need help, and obviously you need help at running back. I think that's fine. I like DJ Moore, not as an overreaction to last week, just in general. He's been good all season. I was in on DJ Moore big time before the season. I know you were too. Swift, yeah, I think you can do this. Arvin was just became a member. I think it was yesterday. So in a 12-team league, needs a running back, Connor and Achane on IR. Who to target for DJ Moore?
Well, it's got to be somebody really good. DJ Moore has a lot of value right now, like Tony Pollard, DeAndre Swift. Maybe Etienne would be the lowest I would go for DJ Moore. Like, I don't think I would take a running back below Travis Etienne, like that kind of level there.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be a really good running back.
It's got to be an RB1. I mean, if it's less than that, then walk away. I mean, it's fine. You don't have to trade. I know you need a running back, but don't feel like you have to trade DJ Moore. But if you are going to flip him for an RB, this is the time. So RB1 or bust. Johan Unterkofler last week came for advice and won, so back for more. Wait, so you're saying if you lost, you wouldn't have come back? Is that what you're saying? No,
I know, right? Dang.
Well, I guess if we were giving bad advice, that would make sense. 10-team PPR starters got Hurts, Kamara, Demercado, Lamb, Olave, Devontae, Komet, JT on the bench, Nico, Flowers, Wilson, and Pitts. Are we putting Imari Demercado over Jonathan Taylor?
I don't think I can.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm going JT over him. Yeah, that's my only change. Are we putting Pitts in over Komet?
But Komet gets the Vikings.
Yeah, I guess roll Komet. Okay, but I am putting JT in over Demercado.
Yeah, I think I'll stick Komet this week. Flowers, I want to find a way to start him, but I'm not going to bench any of those receivers. So, yeah, I mean, if you have JT, you don't need to start Demercado. So I would say just do that. And look, unless you hear, they're only going to give him like less than half of the touches. Okay, fine. Then bench JT. But I don't think that's the case. Marcus back with another 10-team full PPR. Herbert, Eckler, Pollard, Cup, Chase, Kelsey, Adams. JT, Swift, Saquon, these guys are all on the bench.
Wow.
Okay, so what can we do here? Can't upgrade a quarterback or tight end. You got Cup and Chase. You got Eckler and Pollard. You got JT and Swift. How can you make this team even better?
You can't. I mean, you have he was a QB1 before his bye. You have 2 top 5 running backs. You have, now you might have the wide receiver 1, and maybe 2 top 3 wide receivers. I guess you got to put Tyreek in there. You got the best tight end. You have at least a top 10 wide receiver with Adams. Not to mention you got JT and Swift and Saquon just chilling on your bench. Except Lamb and Olave trade. So what was that trade again? It was Saquon. Yeah, you know what? But I mean, what are you even going to do with Lamb and Olave? You're not even going to play them. I mean, maybe you'll play Lamb over Adams, but I mean,
this isn't an 8. This is a 10-team league. I mean, you should run away with the championship here. You really should. Yes. Like if you don't, then this is terrible luck. So sure, you can take the trade, but well, who to start? Who you have in there? Well, actually, you know what? I don't know. Would I put Swift in over Pollard this week? Maybe.
I mean, I do like Swift, but I don't know if I can do it. Pollard against the Chargers.
I know, it's the Chargers. That would be the only thing I might do. Swift over Pollard, but you're fine. You don't need help. You're fine. Okay, now apparently he does need help here. Tekeb 123. He says he's in last place and his team league has a really bad punishment. Now I'm intrigued. What exactly is?
Yeah, what is the punishment?
A tattoo or something?
Oh man, that's not even
okay.
Right.
So Atwell, Moore. I don't know which Moore. I'm assuming like Rondale Moore. Or you can't start Wilson. He's probably not even going to play.
Yeah, I don't know which Moore that is. It would definitely matter. If it's DJ Moore, I mean, you're starting him. If it's Elijah Moore or Sky Moore or Rondale Moore, probably just go with Atwell and hope for the best. Best.
Yeah, my intuition for no reason whatsoever told me Atwell might have a good game, so I'll go Atwell. And then run CMC, aka Julio. Another W. Thank you for watching. In my bench, got those guys. But today, Ramondre is on waivers. Okay, that's not too surprising. But do you drop somebody to get Ramondre? I mean, I really hope you have an IR spot that you can stash Achane, but apparently you don't. I don't think I can drop any of those guys for Ramondre, though.
No.
I guess
there's nobody else.
I guess not. I mean, that's his bench, so obviously. And sorry, I don't remember all the other players you have, Julio, but yeah, I wouldn't drop any of those players. Let's just put it that way. And then we got Christopher Laborde is back.
What's up?
Hey, how unfair is this trade? Pittman, Kamara, and Nico. What? No, that can't be real for JT and Chase. A $300 buy-in league.
I mean, it's pretty unfair. It's pretty unfair, but I mean,
like, is
I mean,
it?
you would hope guys in a $300 league kind of know what they're doing, but it doesn't always mean it's not always the case. Some people just have money and don't know what they're doing. So
It's exactly what I was gonna say. Sometimes the people who have the most money make the worst decisions. Anyways, look, we've said this before. You guys know how we feel about like vetoing and things like that. Adults shouldn't have to be able to control what other people do. And if you're in a league where actual people who know what they're doing, first of all, if you're in a league where there is collusion and this kind of stuff goes on, like you shouldn't be in that league. But you already bought in, obviously, and this is $300. I mean, I will say I don't think it's so like ridiculous that it's like that it is collusion. Somebody probably thinks Kamara and JT is the same, right? Somebody probably thinks, okay, Kamara, JT, same guy. And then, well, I need 2 receivers. I'll trade Chase and I'll buy low and I'll get 2 receivers because I lost somebody or whatever. So, I mean, I would hate to see this, but I really don't know what you can do. It is somewhat unfair. I don't know. Would you put a protest or something? Ask for your money back?
no, I mean, like I've been in many leagues where there was trades that I didn't think were fair. Just
Have to live with it.
Press on. I mean, you never know what can happen. Like, look at what just happened with Jefferson. Look what happened with Cup last year. You'd never know. Like, I remember there was one year. I think it was the year where Tyreek Hill was accused of like beating up his kid, like breaking his kid's arm, and everybody thought Tyreek Hill was going to get like this huge suspension, and his best ball ADP like plummeted. People were getting him in like the 5th, 6th round because everybody thought he was going to be like suspended for the year. And then when it was announced that there was no suspension, everybody was like, "Well, there's no point in doing best ball now because everybody got him in the 5th, 6th round wins." And then didn't Tyreek Hill get hurt that year? I think he got hurt that year, and like didn't even like you got hurt, like missed a bunch of games or something. So you never. I'm not saying it's gonna happen. You just never know. It's still week 6. You don't know how this is gonna play out. Yeah, keep going. Don't keep going.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like seeing this, but again, I don't think it's so ridiculous that I would ask for my money back. Now, if this is like a series of events, like if there's other stuff that's gone on in this league, no, I wouldn't. But I wouldn't ask for my money back just because of this. I would say I wouldn't like it, but I wouldn't overreact to it. Dutch Sensei, Higgins, Nico, Smith, and Addison pick 2.
I mean, I guess we can't play Higgins. Man, I still gotta roll. Yeah, I still gotta roll with Smith.
So Nico or Addison is the thing. Addison is also tough to gauge. He's getting more targets. It's the Bears, but
yeah, but he's still very risky. Like I'm not ready just to put him like no doubt. And Nico's been so good.
The problem is where I'm putting Addison this week. It's like I bumped him up to the range of like Nico Collins. So it's like I might just for the potential upside, I might go Addison over Nico this week. But look, if Tank Dell doesn't play, then Nico Collins, becomes more interesting. It just doesn't have a great matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the matchup is going to say I'll prefer Addison over Nico. So Devontae Smith and Addison are my 2.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's very close for Addison and Nico for me, so I'm okay with that.
Gilbert Paul, Justice Hill, Jaleel McLaughlin, or Tyjae Spears.
Sadly, I think I'm going Justice Hill. He gets carries. He catches passes. It's not a horrible matchup this week. I mean, it kind of is against Titans, but I mean, it's not a great matchup for Spears on the other side. I don't know. I think I'm rolling with Hill out of this group.
They're all very similar players.
Yes.
I would love to say McLaughlin if Javonte wasn't playing. Javonte is playing.
Yep.
I might go Spears actually then. That might be my pick.
Yeah, they're all kind of dart throws, so
yeah. We got another new member on the YouTube, Jacob
Thank you.
Counterman. Thank you, Jacob. And then Andrea dropping in.
What's
Andrea's
up?
in a couple of our leagues. Right. And then Paul Byrbent with the super chat. Any changes? Got Burrow, Pollard, Etienne, Chase Lamb, Hawk, Swift. On the bench is Debo, Osborne, Hall, James Cook, DeMarcado, Purdy, and Ferguson.
No, I can't put any of those guys. I mean, yeah, I can't put any of those guys in. Nope. I'm leaving it the way you have it.
Yeah, I'm not benching any of the players in your starting lineup. Is you have a couple of interesting bench options, but no, there's really no reason to change anything. So you're good. What about Benny Black? What's up, Benny? 12 team. Hertz, Eckler, Cook, Cooper, Andrews needs a receiver and a flex from Reynolds, Gallup, DeMarcado, Ingram. Got them both. Or Rondell Moore. You got a lot of Cardinals. Or could go to the waiver wire to get another Cardinal, Michael Wilson, or Dotson, or Shaheed.
Man.
None of these guys are like dripping with upside, I would say.
I kind of do like Gallup this week against the Chargers.
Yeah.
Chargers have been terrible against the pass. They give up big plays. I think I would go Gallup at wide receiver. I guess I'll go DeMarcado at flex. At least he should get the touches. Gallup and DeMarcado.
Yeah, I don't think you can start Reynolds with Sun God back, a road game, a decent defense. I would go Gallup. And then at the flex, man, I really wish you could start Dotson. It's just sad. He's not even on rosters anymore. I don't know what's up with him. But if I feel like DeMarcado is the guy, then I would go him. And if not, maybe just throw Rondell Moore in there, I guess. But
yeah, Rondell. Yeah,
did you
not a bad
die?
spot for Moore.
Trading London for Rashad White, win or no?
I think it's fair. If you need running back, it's good. It's fine. I don't think it's a win or a loss necessarily. Like if you need running back help, I don't think there's a huge difference between London and White.
Yeah, if you're getting White, I think that's fine because he's a startable running back. Jacob with a question: Brian Robinson or Zay Flowers?
Well, I'm definitely going Flowers, especially in PPR against the Titans. Give me Flowers.
Yeah, I think Robinson should be solid this week, but he's your RB2 option. Zay Flowers is the guy I would flex for sure. I think he should have a good week. Kevin is back. Got James Cook. Tired of him only getting. Look, that was last game. He got 5 carries. The week before that, I think he had a really good game. Didn't he have a 100-yard game?
I think he had 12 or more carries in like the 3 games prior, and like he had 15 or more in 2 of them. So yeah.
And then should I start Osborne or Rashad White?
I'm still going James Cook this week. I'm not scared of the matchup this week.
And then
like I don't love like White's fine. Like sure, White will get you 15 carries, but what is it, 35 yards, 40 yards? You know what I mean? Catch a few passes for maybe another 20 to 30 yards. Maybe he scores. Like White doesn't do anything for me. Osborne's interesting, but I mean Osborne could always do nothing too. So I don't know. I'm still going James Cook this week.
Yeah, I'm definitely going James Cook. In fact, I'm feeling a boom week from him. Gonna put him in one of the videos, so I'm sticking with James Cook. I know last week was frustrating. Don't give up. And then also have Rashad White and Moss in another league. White or Moss?
I may regret it, but I'm going White. I mean, I don't know. Unless we hear like, Shane Steichen saying like, yeah, JT's still a ways away, like where it sounds like he's not going to play much, then maybe I go Moss. But right now, I probably go White.
Right. I think that's fair to say. Get the guy who you know is the starter for sure. Go White. And then always in the house, Keith is just saying what's up. Yeah, I agree. Well, the least you could do. It doesn't take more than 2 seconds to give the thumbs up there. Which, by the way, I know someone earlier asked about the Discord. Yeah, for help. I know we're not able to always be in the Discord because we're always doing this stuff. But look at, and even in this chat, people asking questions and asking the chat. Love to see that. Help each other out. Some of the comments we can't get to. There's one person who even gets added probably as much, if not more than us in the Discord. It's Keith. And I would definitely trust anything he says. If you need help at the Discord and he's got the time, just make sure you put the matchup or he's not going to answer your question, though. He made that clear. Tell him what team they're playing because when you get a ton of questions, time is of the essence. All right. And then roast beef.
I just posted the Discord link, by the way, for anybody that wants to hop in.
There you go. All right. Check that out, guys.
Beef.
Roast beef is on the menu. Full PPR 12, 3 and 2. CJ Stroud, CMC, Kenneth Walker, Waddle, Amari, TJ, Jacoby, and then lock it on the bench. Wilson and Rashawn. Should you upgrade at receiver?
I mean, you could. But
my thought here is now, are you worried about Amari Cooper? Are you trying to sell him?
Not really. Like, do we think Deshaun Watson's not playing the rest of the year? Like, he's just done? He's just over it? No. He's just done with football?
No, he should play. And Cooper's been good for the most part this season.
But maybe you could package like Jacoby Myers, who's been good, and Jeff Wilson, who has a lot of steam right now because of the Achane injury, and maybe get a better wide receiver, upgrade. Maybe get like a guy like Devonta Smith, Chris Olave. You already have Waddle, T. Higgins, somebody like that. But I think even though I do like Jacoby, I'll just say I'm playing Tyler Lockett over Jacoby this week. It's too good of a matchup. He has way too much upside. I'm putting Lockett in over Jacoby personally.
Yeah, I want Lockett in my lineup. I will say this, even if he plays, I might consider putting him over Amari because it's the 49ers. I don't know. But maybe that's thinking too hard. Jacoby has the revenge game, though. That's always a thing. Ruben wants to know if you should trade Swift and Sun God for Pollard and Olave. Oh, man. That's a tough one.
It's like two guys who have been producing versus two guys who haven't that should be.
Basically.
I still prefer Pollard over Swift this season, but it's not like a significant thing, and I still prefer Sun God over Olave. So I'd probably just keep the guys that have been producing because I don't feel like this is like okay, maybe I prefer Pollard a little bit over Swift, but I prefer Sun God over Olave. So just give me the Swift and Sun God side. They've actually been producing. I don't have to worry about will the better matchups help? Will the regression help? Just give me Swift and Sun God. I'll just keep them.
Yeah, I'm leaning toward the Swift side. Because you say, well, maybe Pollard gets better. He should be better, and Olave too. But is this really upgrading your team? I don't see how it does. That's my thing. And then I was just talking about the Jacoby Myers revenge game. I love it. Tresnor starting Raiders this week in all my leagues because the Patriots suck. That's one way to do it. That's one way to choose your your streamers. I wouldn't start the Raiders defense though.
Yeah, I mean,
Not going to deny that the Patriots are pretty bad, but Terry R. Should I trade Brian Robinson in London for Olave and Dylan?
well, here I mean, if you need, yeah, I do this because I feel like Olave is significantly better than everybody in this trade.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want Dylan. But I feel like to get Olave, I would do this. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's worth doing. Not that Dylan does much for you. Raheem, PPR, trade Kyron and Lamb to get Pollard and Ayuk.
Yeah, I think I do this because I think Pollard's a big enough upgrade over Kyron. And even though I do like Lamb, and I do think Lamb will be better than Ayuk rest of the season, Ayuk will be good enough. So give me the Pollard and Ayuk side here.
I mean, on paper, this looks pretty even, but I do prefer the Pollard Ayuk side. I think the upgraded running back, like you said, is going to be worth it. Next one, well, we got more roast beef. Can we get Komet and trade Hawk to fill pieces? Are you okay rolling Komet out rest of the season and then trade Hawk to upgrade elsewhere? I think is what he means.
I'm pretty much the only tight ends I would have to strongly consider not trading to upgrade other pieces are Kelsey and Andrews. Like Hawk to me, yeah, like Hawk as a tight end is great. Hawk as a wide receiver 2, Hawk as a running back 2, you know what I mean? Like he's like he'll have those games, like he'll have those blow up games like he had like, every now and then. But then he'll have those games where he's very mediocre too, or just okay. So if I can trade Hawk to fill pieces and roll with Komet, I'm okay with that.
Now let me ask this, because I think it's a reasonable consideration. Like everyone's all over Jordan Addison, he's the guy, right? And then KJ Osborne, everyone's picking him up. Do you think that Hawkinson becomes the guy who essentially becomes the number one receiver, the replacement, not a replacement, but you know what I mean? Do you think he's the one who sees the biggest boost without JJ there now?
I mean, he's definitely going to see a boost, but I mean, again, we're only talking about potentially 4 games. Remember, when Kupp went on IR, people were actually legitimately saying, like legitimate comments we got on streams. Kupp is not coming back this year. Kupp is done, or he's going to be hurt. Like he's going to get hurt right away again, or whatever.
He's more hurt than they're letting on, or something like that.
Yeah, and now everybody is like wishes they had Cooper Kupp, right? So if it's 4 weeks, sure, maybe he gets a bump for 4 weeks, but okay, then what? Then he goes back to being like a good tight end, like definitely a top tight end, but not like what I would consider, like a difference making tight end. So,
so sell high, but as always, only if it's actually high, like you're getting a legit receiver in exchange or running back, whatever you need.
Exactly. Yes.
All right, Steven from Canada has a non-rage question. That's not as fun. Pickens or Deontay? Who do you like rest of the season?
I mean, I don't know. I did see a stat today that Kenny Pickett, I think, has the worst accuracy rating on deep passes this year. And I do worry, like, because right now, what's helped Pickens is that with Deontay Johnson out, he's not just running go routes, right? He's running more like slants and things like that. And he's being used as a more like a traditional wide receiver. But when Deontay comes back, Deontay's probably going to run those routes, and Pickens probably going to go back to running the go routes. I mean, I don't really love either of these guys rest of the season. Pickens at least has upside. I mean, if you're asking me who has more points at the end of the season, it might be Deontay just because he out volumes Pickens. But Pickens will probably have more big games, so I don't know.
I'll take that weekly upside in the form of the random big play that he does all by himself because he jumped up and made a contested catch and in the end zone, or he took it and housed it. I'll take the upside. I'm going to go Pickens. back again. The Terminator going for Pollard instead, offering Jones, Ayuk, Watson for Pollard and Flowers, or do I do it for Swift instead?
Well, again, Swift Pollard very close for me right now. I mean, Swift is getting elite usage. He's behind a great offensive line. Either one, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty close here. I
This is
mean,
like I like it. I like it. This is like the Terminator just busting into the police station, not a care in the world, just busting in. I'm going for it. I don't care.
yeah, that's it. Go for it. That's how you win. You gotta make a move here. All right, let's go. Greg Peterson, 12 team, full PPR, trading away James Cook for Laporta. Do you like that? Just in a vacuum?
Not really. um,
Now he's saying his other tight ends are streaming options at best. So I get, you want kind of that set and forget tight end. I mean, I get, Laporta should be that.
yeah, I mean, no, he is. He certainly is. Like, look, he's a set and forget tight end, no doubt about it. But I mean, you say your other running backs are Bijan Robinson, Montgomery, and Gibbs. But I mean, again, I remember we had like last week on one of the shows, we had a thing, and it was like the guy had, 3 or 4 really good running backs. And I said something to the effect of like, hey, you can never have too many good running backs. Imagine if like you went into this week with, Bijan Robinson, Montgomery, or Bijan Robinson, Achan, and Connor. You're like, hey, my running backs are fine. I can get rid of James Cook. I'm fine. And now you just have Bijan, right? Because like we can't feel the problem is if Gibbs starts carving out a bigger role, then Gibbs and Montgomery, then it hurts Montgomery. You know what I mean?
True. Right.
So you really don't have any running back depth here. Like I totally get like wanting to get Laporta. I understand that. He's a set and forget. It's very nice. Trust me, in the leagues where I don't have to think about tight end, it's very nice. It's a great feeling. But man, I don't know if I would trade away James Cook for Laporta.
Well, let me ask you this: based on the makeup of this roster, this running back depth, would you feel better trading away Gibbs for Laporta?
Yes.
So that way you're not, like hedging your bet here. You have 3 RB2 types realistically from this different teams.
Yes, I would much prefer to trade Gibbs for Laporta than Cook. Yes.
All right. Well, there you go. So, and I would assume they would do that. I think Gibbs still has some value, but I guess it all depends. All right. And then we got in the pocket, full PPR, Addison, Zay, Thielen, and Hollywood. Go ahead and say it. Go ahead and say it.
But you know what's going to happen when I finally say, like, okay, fine, I give up. It's Thielen. He's going to have like 3 catches for 40 yards. Actually, that would be a lot of yards for him. He's going to have like 3 catches for 27 yards. Right? Do nothing.
Good. No.
But I think you got to go with Thielen. It's too good of a matchup. And then I would go with Flowers second. Although it's really hard to bench Hollywood too.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are all pretty close because they do all have a path to big upside this week. I think Hollywood might be my last pick out of these guys. Yeah, I'm going to go Zay and Thielen. George, Cannon. 10 team, PPR, got Field, CMC, Etienne, AJB, Waddle, Laporta, and Walker on the bench. Cooper, Pickens, Moss, Stroud, Dell, Jonnu Smith, and KJ Osborne. Any advice on anything?
All right. I mean, your starting lineup is great.
Would you?
Your running back depth. Your running back depth is like non-existent. Zach Moss is literally the only other running back you have. Oh, you have Kenneth Walker. I didn't see him. He's got in the flags.
Yeah, Walker's the flex. Would you consider? I mean, obviously not Pickens this week because he's. Would you? Okay, Cooper is probably the only bench player I'd even consider. Would you go Cooper over Walker at the flex? It's PPR.
Not this week. It's the Niners. Yeah, Walker's in a good matchup. Just give me Walker at the flex.
Trade advice. pick up waiver advice. I mean, you don't need Jonnu Smith. You have Laporta.
Yeah, you can drop Jonnu Smith for literally anybody. Preferably a running back. I mean, I don't really have any trade advice. This team looks really good. But yeah, drop Jonnu Smith for a running back on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Not a lot of, I mean, I wouldn't mess with your starting lineup. You're good. I don't see anybody on your bench that's really a sell high. So I think you're pretty good. Gilbert, Galindo, DeMarcado, or McLaughlin?
I think it's got to be Demercado because Javonte not even on the injury report, expected to play. Can't feel great about McLaughlin. Look, if he goes out there and gets a decent amount of touches and puts up a good game again this week, all right, sure. But with Javonte coming back, I think you got to go. You got to go Demercado.
Yeah, I agree. Chase the volume. He's going to get the volume. Pretty sure the return of Keontae Ingram isn't going to spell disaster for him. So I'm going to go with DeMarcado. All right, Christopher Laborde, back with the rebuttal. Usually I don't react like this. He's saying that the guy who's getting Chase and JT already has AJ Brown and Eckler. So he's worried that this team is going to be like maybe unfairly stacked. I get that.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get your side. But I mean, are they going to give you your money back in week 6?
Yeah. Well, exactly. You can ask for your money back. It doesn't mean you'll get it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You probably you're just gonna either have to rage quit and like.
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, you don't
but
want to do that.
also, you can't just assume this team's going to win the championship.
I know. You never know. I've seen teams that look stacked on paper and they have one bad week in the fantasy playoffs and boom, they're done. I've had teams like that. Just stacked on paper, just like unbeatable on paper, and then everybody wets the bed in the same week, and then you lose.
Yep.
I mean, that happened in my wife's work league last year. I literally on the same team had Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Saquon Barkley. Who's my other running back? Another stud running back. I can't even remember. And they all like Jefferson had his worst game of the season. Saquon had a terrible game. CeeDee Lamb, I think, did okay. The other running back did nothing. It was just like my whole team decided in week 17 to not show up, and I ended up losing. I should have never lost. Like my team was like ridiculous. I had like, yeah, it was ridiculous. But anyways, you never know. Play it out.
Yeah, it's not a great trade, but I don't think it's like a fireable offense for the commissioner. Or, it is not that bad. Big Lou, 10-man, full PPR. Got Burrow, Diggs, Ridley, Myers, Higgins, Kyron, Barkley, Ingram, Logan Thomas, Hall, Moss, Rashawn. So he wants to know what kind of a package to get Jefferson.
Well, again, the first thing I think about is, okay, what does a Jefferson owner need? Probably wide receiver. I don't want to give up Diggs. Maybe Ridley. I would consider Ridley if you didn't put your record here, but if you have a good record, I would consider Ridley. Probably not going to take Higgins right now because he needs a wide receiver who's playing. Like, there's no reason trading a hurt wide receiver for a hurt wide receiver. So maybe like Ridley and Kyron, because you could have Barkley coming back this week. Although your running backs are Kyron, Barkley,
Hall.
You got Hall, Moss, Rashawn. Yeah, you're okay-ish at running back.
Yeah, I was thinking Kyron and then Ridley makes the most sense because no one's probably giving Jefferson for Higgins right now.
No.
Don't give up Diggs. Myers not enough. Yeah, try Ridley and Kyron. See if that works. If you want to throw in Moss, sure, throw in Moss. Rusty Shackelford, 12-team, half PPR. Need to flex 2 and 3. Got Josh Allen, Murray, Pittman, Watson, Garrett Wilson, Dell, Deontay, Bijan, Eckler, Gibbs, Pierce, Ford, Herbert, Komet, Logan Thomas. Any moves here? Wide receivers definitely a little
Yeah, I
thin at the
mean,
top.
you got Bijan and Eckler. I see how you started this draft for sure.
And Josh
Man,
Allen.
Bijan and Eckler on a 12 team. I'm guessing you got Bijan in round 2 because he's a rookie
Yeah.
running back. You can't draft a rookie running back that early. Man, look how good would this team look if Aaron Rodgers was still playing and Garrett Wilson was. You know what's crazy about, like, you look at Garrett Wilson, it's like all the if you take out the receptions and yards and touchdowns and you just look at like the targets, the first read share, all that stuff, it's like he would be destroyed. He would be like going off right now with Aaron Rodgers, like absolutely going off with Aaron Rodgers. Like,
I know.
it's
Or
insane.
just any halfway decent quarterback, really.
Exactly. Any halfway decent quarterback, he'd be going insane right now. It's like the worst. It would have been almost better if he had like a season-ending injury, because then people just, okay, fine, you drop him and move on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, I know. And you know what to expect, at least. I mean, I think you need, obviously, you're 2 and 3. You need some help at receiver here because
Yeah.
Wilson is not an every week starter. He shouldn't be an every week starter. Pittman, solid, but like wide receiver, like low end wide receiver 2. Watson, volatile wide receiver 2. Deontay will come back, low end wide receiver 2. Package Gibbs and Wilson to a guy who likes youth and is hoping for better days, and see if you can get a receiver like Devontae Smith.
Yeah, go try to target those guys: Olave, Waddle, Higgins, Devonta Smith. Yeah, package Gibbs and Wilson. See if it'll work for one of those guys.
And if you have to throw in like a Pierce, that's fine.
Oh yeah, more than fine.
Alaska Moose Dog needs a flex between Lockett or Flowers. Yeah.
I think I gotta go Lockett here. It's Cincy. It should be a shootout. I do like Flowers. I don't know.
I know. I like them both this week. I don't know. I think my gut says Lockett.
Yeah, I think my gut says Lockett too. I just do. There's like a part of me that does feel like, had Flowers caught those passes last week, would we just automatically say Flowers this week?
Well, maybe.
You know what I mean? Because we're talking about a potentially like 50 more yards and 3 more catches.
Yeah. It's really close. Both have upside. My gut says Lockett.
All right, go Lockett.
Hugs
It's very
Capital. Hugs Capital 2. Sorry, Hugs Capital the second.
close. All right.
12 man, 2 running back, 3 receiver, a tight end, and a flex. PPR, we got Burrow, Monty, Mostert, Diggs, Chase, Puka. Nice, Laporta. At the flex, I mean, your answer is right there in front of you, but let's keep going. Thielen, White, Ford. Out of the bench, we got Samuel, Edwards, Herbert, and Zeke. I don't have to hold tight on Zeke.
Yeah, you can drop Zeke for almost anybody on the waiver wire, honestly. At your flex, it's Thielen this week.
Any trades here?
I don't really see anything that jumps out as like a, because you got Demon and Mostert, and then you got 2 guys behind him, White and Ford, who I think are fine, but I don't think they have a lot of value right now. You don't really want to trade Diggs, Chase, or Puka.
The only thing I can think of is, look, what if this week Mostert goes off, right? 100 yards and a touchdown, or has a big game. Maybe you can trade Mostert at like a sell high and get a stud at receiver, somebody, and then just roll with Ford as your RB2. Maybe you can do that. But I don't think you need to. I think you're okay. I mean, this team is pretty solid top to bottom.
He's already got stud receivers.
Yeah, you already got stud receivers. So, but if you're worried about, well, maybe I don't want to flex Adam Thielen every week, then I'd say maybe you can do that. But right now, I would hold tight. Don't do anything right now. Sir Boomer. So he's asking about trading Judy to get Pitts. I think we had already said, yeah, dude, you can do this.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. You have Sutton and Judy. That's bad juju. Okay, he's got another one here. Thinking about offering Smith and Pierce for Henry and Lockett.
I mean, I get wanting to get rid of Pierce.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sell low on Devontae Smith. Getting Derrick Henry, that's nice. He says line up below. Let me see. I don't see it below. Oh, here it is. Tua Bijan. Okay, so Pierce is his RB2. I mean, you're
Ooh.
upgrading to Derrick Henry. I think that might be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need another running back. So, yeah, I
And
think you might have to do this. You might have to do this.
yeah, I think I would do that to get the upgraded running back. Mark Cleveland, would you trade Puka for Walker? Straight up.
I think it's pretty fair. I mean, in a vacuum, I might slightly prefer Puka if it's PPR. There were some signs last week that weren't good for Puka. I know the fantasy points were there, but when you look at a guy like Stafford, he throws to his first read almost 70% of the time. And last week, Puka's first read share dropped down to 26%, and Kupp's was at 40. And I could see that even going a little bit higher towards Kupp as he gets healthier. So I think it's fair. If you need a running back, I think it's fair. A very fair trade.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. I think I wouldn't go lower than that for Puka right now. But again, maybe people are worried. Puka's value clearly isn't what it was 2 weeks ago, which is why that was the best time to trade him. But I think that's still fine. I think you're still getting solid value there. Yeah, I'm surprised you said, I mean, I'm not surprised that Stafford goes as his first read 70% of the time. I figured that Kupp would just be his first read 100% of the time. But I guess that's
I
not
mean,
reasonable.
nobody like Garrett. This is what I was saying about Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson leads all receivers with 44% first read percentage. That's insane. That is insane. That
But
means almost half the time it's like the first wide receiver Zach Wilson is looking at is Garrett Wilson.
that's because you have a quarterback who isn't, let's just face it, capable of making second, third reads and comfortably throwing there and scanning the field. Like he's just going to throw it to whoever he's supposed to on the play call sheet. So,
Yeah,
all
that's
right,
true. That
let's
is
go
true.
to Scott Torpy. 10 team, one flex, Lamar, Bijan, Jacobs, Allen, Nico Mixon, Ferguson, and then the bench. Who are you starting? We putting Amari over Nico. That would be the only thing, maybe. Or Waller over Ferguson.
No, I think I go with Ferguson this week against the Chargers. I might go Amari over Nico if Deshaun Watson plays. Because one thing about the 49ers defense is they will give up big plays to the wide receivers. So if Deshaun Watson is in, I'd probably go Amari over Nico. But I think that's it. Pretty sure that's it.
Keep
Or
Ferguson because they play the Chargers.
yeah, Ferguson. I was gonna say maybe over Mixon, but Mixon has a great matchup again this week, doesn't he?
Seattle could have that random 4-touchdown game. I'm not
Yeah.
calling it. I'm not calling him as a boomer or anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think you got to roll with Mixon.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Trades? Would you trade anything here? I mean, there's some value on the bench, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, Judy still has name value. Stafford, if somebody's desperate at QB, has name value. He came off a nice game. Maybe package Judy and Waller.
I don't. Honestly, that's one of the biggest mysteries for me this year in fantasy football is why does Jerry Judy still have value? Like why? Why do people just assume he's gonna at some point break out or do something better or do something different? Judy still has value. Trade him just for whatever. Jake Holgate. Has Fields, Jacobs, Pacheco, Jettis, Addison, Puka, Kelsey, Amari, Brees, Ingram, Higgins, Wilson. Was offered. Well, it looks like you took this because you say was offered Addison, Nakua, and Hall, and you're saying that you have those guys. Okay, so Addison, Nakua, Hall for Tyreek and Judy. Or I guess maybe you were offered Tyreek and Judy for those three. Anyways, which side do you like?
Man.
I mean, I don't want to trade for Judy, but is Tyreek to get those for those three guys? I guess.
I mean, it's really going to come down to Hall and Addison. Can Addison be that guy without Jefferson? I do have my concerns. The reason I liked Addison so much was not like, that hopefully Jefferson is gone. The reason I liked Addison so much was because he had Jefferson. Because I don't view Addison as like a true number one who could handle the tough coverage. We'll see.
I'm still trying to figure out. I'm a little confused because of the wording, the way, because he's saying he's got those players. So he's saying was offered Addison, Nakua, Hall for Tyreek Judy, but I think what he means is he was offered to get Tyreek and Judy because he already has those three players. So I'm trying to piece together the lineup. So I think with Jefferson on the bench coming back, if he trades those two receivers, his receivers would be Tyreek, Higgins, and Cooper.
Yeah, you still have pretty. I mean, well, you might not have good receivers this week because Cooper may be playing with PJ Walker and Higgins may not be playing. But eventually, you'll have really good wide receivers again. I mean, you do have
Jefferson
Judy. You can always throw him in. He gets points.
Yeah. And then would have, Judy. Yeah, I guess you could play Judy if you had to.
But I mean, his running backs are only going to be Jacobs, Pacheco, and Wilson Jr.
Yeah, so sacrificing some depth to get Tyreek for Addison and Puka.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade for sure. I don't know how I feel about it. Again, it's really going to come down to does Brees get healthy and does Addison actually succeed without Jefferson, or do we find out Addison does need Jefferson, which I think may be the case. He does have some easy matchups coming up where it might not matter, right? Like that, just the defenses are so bad it doesn't matter. So we'll see.
I would say this: if you're getting Tyreek and Judy on that roster, I think again in a couple of weeks you got Jefferson, Hill, and Higgins, and then Cooper as your fourth receiver, and then Kelsey at tight end. You're going to be stacked everywhere except for your RB2. But here's what I would do: I would take the trade, and then I would try to flip Judy. Trade Judy and Pacheco maybe after this week, after Pacheco goes off against Denver. And then after this week, I would try to trade Pacheco and Judy for a really good running back. That's what I would do. Rob Johnson. 14 team. Hurts, Mixon, Cook, Adams, Thielen, Hawk, Addison, Downs. On the benches, Spears, Michael Wilson, Chuba, Claypool. Hope that's not a bad luck thing for your team. Logan Thomas, what do you think? I mean, you'd like to help at RB1, but I don't see how.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 14-teamer, so you got to always kind of it's a solid team. I mean, I do still have my worries for Thielen long term. Like, I have a hard time believing Thielen's going to finish as a top 10 wide receiver.
So, is this a case where after he goes off this week and puts up numbers, you're trading Thielen?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I would be trading him now. It's like, fine, I'll sacrifice the potential big game this week if his value is sky high. If I can trade him, I'll trade him for sure.
And maybe hope Mixon has a big game too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you can turn Mixon and Thielen into an RB1. Probably not, but you never know. I mean, Pollard, people are selling low, so.
Yeah, but if he has a Jacobs game against the Chargers, those days are gone.
Right. So I think that would be it. I mean, your bench, you really don't have trade value like at all. So you're gonna have to try to trade Thielen and Mixon to upgrade at RB and hope that works. PJ Erickson, 10 team, traded T and Pitts for Ridley.
Eh, I probably would have just. I mean, I get. I just don't see a big difference between T and Ridley long term. And then you threw in Kyle Pitts. I mean, I get it. You have Laporta, and I get you wanted the Lawrence Ridley stack, which again, trust me, as somebody who has like the Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs stack, which is a better stack. There are weeks where you wish you didn't have the stack. Like, yeah, like a week like last week, it's great when they both go off because then you like destroy your opponent. But when they have a down week like they did in like week 2, I think, you get crushed. You get crushed.
Right.
Because your QB and your wide receiver one both failed, and you're like, well, I'm done. On to next week. So, but for me, what it really comes down to is that Higgins and Ridley are not like I might even prefer Higgins over Ridley long term, especially now that Burrow looks healthy again. And then you just
Yeah.
threw in Pitts. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, trading Pitts away is okay, obviously, and you got Laporta. I mean, there's a different receiver might have preferred slightly to Ridley, but I don't think it's a bad trade. I mean, would you have felt okay if it was like Higgins and Pitts for Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Stephon Diggs? Just hypothetically.
Say it again.
Instead of Ridley, if it was Higgins and Pitts for like Keenan Allen or DJ
Yeah.
Moore.
Yeah, I would have liked that better. Where like I feel like you're actually getting an upgrade at wide receiver. I feel like this is pretty lateral. I might even prefer T Higgins rest of the season. I know it's easy right now. It's hard right now to wrap your brain around that. But look, Joe Burrow's healthy. T Higgins is going to get healthy, and when he does, T Higgins is going to have some huge games. People are going to be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, I remember." So
All right. So Chris Laborde says his rant is over. Now let's move on to something else. If Rashawn plays, would you go with him over Brian Robinson?
No, I still go Brian Robinson. I just feel better about him getting the usage. I don't like he got before last week. He was a workhorse. They were just getting throttled in like the second quarter. They couldn't run the ball anymore. I think there's only been 2 games where he didn't have like a ton of carries, and it was 2 games where they were getting throttled. I don't think they're going to get throttled this week. I'm still going Robinson.
Yeah, I'm going Brian Robinson. And then would you go Purdy over Lawrence?
No,
I don't think so.
I'm going Lawrence. At home
Or
against the
Lawrence.
Colts, give me Lawrence.
And then here's the ultimate question. Are we going KJ Osborne over Garrett Wilson?
Geez.
So sad.
I don't know.
So
I might just go Garrett Wilson here. I might at least Garrett Wilson can make a play. KJ Osborne is just so not good.
I mean, his is it no? I'm trying to think where he is. One of his ratings. He's like one of the worst in the league. It's one of the I don't know. Nah, go Garrett Wilson.
Osborne. I'll just go Garrett Wilson here.
Nathaniel Londy, 12-man full PPR dynasty. Hertz, Jacobs, Etienne, Kamara, Mixon, Kendre, Jettis, AJB, Cooper, Ayuk, Dotson. All right, so in this dynasty league, he was offered Mike Evans and Jalen Waddle for an early first, Dotson, and Miller. But this is not super flex, it looks like. Dotson has definitely lost some value since the season started.
Definitely.
I think this is also the time of the year where those early first round rookie picks look so amazing because every single college player that's coming out is going to be the next superstar, right?
Yeah.
Until they aren't, but some of them will.
I just don't want to. I mean, look, I really love getting Waddle, of course. I mean,
But you
I mean,
probably
if
don't
you're
want to
look,
take on others.
if you're win now, if you're going for it this year, if you have a chance to contend and your team looks pretty good, just take Evans and Waddle. Just take Evans and Waddle.
Yeah, I mean, it never feels good to give up an early first, but with your team, this isn't a young team. I mean, you got some young players with Jacobs, Cooper, and you got players that are ready to win now. You got a team that can win now. You definitely can win with this team. So I'd say sure, because look, you got Waddle. He'll make up mostly for that first round pick for the most part. Sammy, Michael Thomas, Zach Moss, Curtis Samuel, or Josh Downs.
I might go Curtis Samuel. Downs is interesting too with Minshew, but man, Curtis Samuel's been playing well. It's got a good matchup this week. Like Michael Thomas is like your safe, you're going to get points guy. But I might just roll Curtis Samuel.
Well, I did pick up Curtis Samuel in one league, and I'm considering flexing him out. Just haven't really set my mind to it yet. I don't think this is the week for Downs. He had a big week because he played Tennessee. MT, sorry, just doesn't do it for me. Moss, maybe. I guess we'll see what happens with Moss, but I might go Curtis Samuel too. Eric Sellis, another dynasty question. Got Cup and Swift for Bijan and either Kirk or Devontae Smith.
I mean, I'm taking Bijan and either of those wide receivers. I mean,
yeah, you got to.
You got to. He's got to be the dynasty RB1, and both those. Kirk is still relatively young. Smith is still young. I mean, Swift is also relatively young, but let's not act like Luke Swift is going to be a free agent next year. We don't know where he's going to go. And Cup is going to be 31 next year? Like he can still be good, but you got to take Bijan and one of those wide receivers.
Yeah. Bijan and either one, but if I get to pick, I'm taking Devontae Smith.
Yes.
Yeah, the Bijan side wins. And they says they're both contenders. And yeah, both these teams can contend with both of these players. But in Dynasty, you're definitely going to want the Bijan side, for sure. Alexander's channel said he traded Garrett Wilson for Waddle. I don't know why somebody is doing this.
Yeah, if you got Waddle, well done. Well done.
That's all it takes. A couple of down games and guys just, yeah. Because what has Garrett Wilson done to make you think, well, the rest of the season will get better? Like what? All right. Well, if you got Waddle, Alexander, then that was a good move. Joe is back in the house. Who do you think will start? Well, we did talk about this earlier. I don't know. What is your gut saying?
I mean, my gut says DeMercado, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ingram is more involved than we think. But
I think it's DeMercado. I'm not worried about the depth chart thing. We learned this from the preseason. Don't read into depth charts. Let's read into who actually gets the touches, who's been good. Yeah. Apparently, somebody has already made a trade with DeMercado, if you believe it or not. Ivan the Terrible traded DeMercado and Higgins for JJ.
yeah, it's a big win for you. It's a big win.
Someone just can't wait for Justin Jefferson, apparently. Look, if Ingram does wind up being better than DeMercado and you just picked him up, you just got another win. But yeah, even so, I don't care. I think this is a win for you. And then Sammy, would you play? Oh yeah, Amari Cooper over Robert Woods?
Yeah, definitely. Even if Deshaun Watson is out, I probably still go Amari Cooper.
Yeah, Woods had a big week 1, and I think it'd get decent week 2, and then he just disappeared. So yeah, you got to play Amari Cooper here. All right, we are nearing the 3 hour mark, and we're finally caught up on our super chats. We'll do a few other regular chats, and then we're going to wrap it up for today. So, any last questions you got for us for tonight? Trade, waiver wire, start sit, anything? Final reminder: if you haven't tried Underdog, let me just mention it one more time. This is the time to sign up. That deposit match of 100% has been extended to $500. Just make sure you use promo code Endgame when you sign up. New customer special. Pat Mahomes, take the higher of just 0.5 total yards. And then it's 100K Sundays. They're back, although they never have really gone away because they've done it now 3-4 weeks in a row. I don't remember, every week since the start of the season. Cooper Kupp, as of right now, and it doesn't matter if you nail that pick, just take that pick, just use it higher or lower. And sometimes it's a different player. It might not be Kupp. Whoever it is in bright yellow that says 100K Sundays, you use that pick with any slate, and then you're entered to win possibly $10,000. 10 different people will win 100,000 or will win $10,000. That makes 100,000. So just use promo code Endgame when you sign up. All right, a couple more super chats now coming in. So let's do those. We got David Aguilar, Jerome Ford, Demercado, Tyjae Spears, or Rashawn Johnson. I don't think Jeff Wilson. Even if Jeff Wilson is activated, I don't think I could play him.
No, I think I go Jerome Ford here. He's the guy we know is going to get the touches, going to get the goal line work, going to catch some passes. It's not a great matchup for him, of course, but he's the one I feel the best about.
And he's saying, actually, I see this now. He's saying pick 2 and then asking for trade ideas. I mean, Ford is number 1. Who's number 2 then?
Probably Demercado be number 2.
So. I don't know. I don't think we can come up with trade ideas for these guys. I mean, there's really not much value with these guys right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would say Ford and Demercado, those first 2 are the guys to start.
Yes.
King of You, 92. Thielen or Hollywood?
Can I really do it? Man,
Do it. It's Thielen, no doubt. Must start. Adam.
Thielen is gonna. I'm just ready for the Thielen letdown week. All right, roll with Thielen.
Ryan Kirst has Higgins, London, Hollins.
Mac Hollins? That can't be Hollins.
Maybe it's Nico Collins, but you did put
maybe Nico Collins, because these wide receivers are too good for it to be Mac Hollins.
Okay. DJ Moore, Ridley, maybe doesn't matter. St. Brown, McKinnon, McLaughlin, and Tony. Should I trade for Jefferson? Sure. What would you do here?
I mean, yeah, but what are you gonna like? Ah, man.
I mean,
your only running backs are McKinnon and McLaughlin. Like, you have to have other running backs. Because the reason I say that is because what I would want to do is package like Ridley and a running back.
Is that, he says Tony? I think maybe Tony Pollard.
Oh, maybe. So your only running backs are McKinnon, McLaughlin, and Tony Pollard? Well, then I don't want to package a running back.
I mean, if anything, instead of trading for Jefferson, you should be trading for a running back.
Yeah.
And you have 4 good receivers, and also Drake London, who's good, just not great in fantasy.
Yeah, this isn't a team where I look at and be like, oh, yeah, this team really needs Jefferson. Like, I mean, look, every team needs Jefferson, but you have good receivers.
Yeah, but I do think that, like you said, this is a team where I don't think Jefferson is what this team needs. You're good at receiver, you're not so good at RB2. So maybe try a different tactics. So trading for Jefferson, probably not for you.
Yeah.
Andrea, got a question. Pacheco or Mostert?
Oh. Oh, man. I like both these guys a lot this week. I mean, I just can't sit a running back. What I saw the tweet today. Was it in our Discord? Then was it in the Nito stats? It's literally like every running back that has played the Broncos this year has either scored the most fantasy points they've ever scored in their career, or the second most fantasy points they've ever scored in their career. Every single running back that has played, every single one that has played the Broncos this year has either set a career high or the second most fantasy points ever in their career. It's
That's
like a running back cheat code. It is like, I like Mostert a lot this week, but I cannot sit a running back against the Broncos. I just can't do it. I can't do it. There's a chance for Pacheco to go for a 30-point game. I mean, like Mostert could too. These guys could both go off, but the Broncos are just historically bad against the run. I got to go Pacheco.
Yeah, both great options. I mean, maybe you can flex one. I don't know, but yeah, I think you have to go with Pacheco. You got to go with the matchup in this case.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna love this one. Rez, would you trade Thielen for
Yes.
Ayuk?
This is a great sell high. Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'd say so. And let's do one last one because we are pretty much done here. Let's do this. Fantasy football is paying. Olave and Cooper for Puka.
No, this feels like too much for Puka. This feels like too much. Like, yeah, feels like an overpay for Puka.
Yeah, I don't think I would even trade Olave for Puka. I would just hold tight. NMB, we know NMB 1-5. What did it do with Achan? No one wants him. I mean, that's surprising.
I mean, some like the undefeated team in your league or the 4-1 team in your league doesn't want him. I mean, look, you're not going to get like, don't go like, hey, I want Jamar Chase or whatever. And I'm sure you're not doing that. But if you're 1-5, I mean, try to get like a solid running back and a solid wide receiver, like two guys that can start for you right away. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be hard to get. It's always going to be hard to get a stud for an injured player, even a player that's been as good as Achan. Like, it's just people are like, why? I don't want to trade my stud. But if you can get two really good, like again, like the example I use is like a Brandon Ayuk and a James Cook or a Brian Robinson or guys like that, right? Maybe even better, a little bit better than those guys. But you get the point. Like,
Yeah.
where it's a
And
maybe
then,
like a like where it's a guy like I could start this running back every week and I could start this wide receiver every week and they can help me dig out of this hole.
and you know that with fantasy football, just like with everything in life, timing is everything. Today is possibly the worst day to try to trade HN because we just found out that he's going to be,
Yes.
out for however long. Surgeries on the table. This is the time where everyone's like out on him and not
Yep.
wanting him. In a week, everyone will forget. They're like, oh, yeah, he's coming back eventually, right? He'll be back. So this is not the time to do it. I get trying to trade him, but just wait. And then maybe those teams that didn't want him, maybe they're more interested. So. And then I knew we'd get another one here. Afro Boy, one PPR got offered. Lamar and Evans and Hawkinson for Kelsey and Fields. That's interesting. I might take the Lamar side.
Yeah, I think you do have to take the Lamar side here. I mean, Evans in every week, basically in every week, start a wide receiver, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 type. Like I said, Hawk for tight end is solid, is good. He's very good for a tight end. He's not Kelsey, but he's very good. You're getting Lamar. I think you got to take this.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Fields look great, but I'm gonna roll with Lamar over Fields the rest of the season. Hawkinson, not a big downgrade from Kelsey, if any, and then you get Evans for free. So yeah, take it. All right, this one's interesting. Sorry, I've been throwing more up there because we technically haven't hit the 3-hour mark yet. Offered Brees for Nakua in a non-PPR league.
Ooh, in the non-PPR?
I mean, context would help, right? If it matters running back and receiver, which would help his team better. But just by itself, would you prefer Brees in a standard format?
I think so. I do worry that if that if we see Brees get shut down this week against the Eagles, that everybody's like, oh yeah, it was the Broncos who have been historically bad against the run and made every running back look like Barry Sanders. But it's standard scoring, so I probably take Brees.
Metcalf, Addison, and Nico, so pretty good at receiver.
Yeah, but I mean, it's standard scoring. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, well, exactly. I guess take the Brees side.
Yeah.
All right, the super chats. Still got a couple more. Casa, Monty and Pittman, or Keenan and Javonte.
Assuming PPR, I think I got to go Keenan and Javonte. I mean, I guess it really comes down to what your team needs. If your team is weak at wide receiver, strong at running back, then I like the Keenan side. If your team is weak at running back and strong at wide receiver, I like the Monty side.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I see like Monty is a pretty much every week start in most leagues. Javonte is like, I'm never going to start. But then you got like a number 1 receiver in Keenan and a number, like I said, low end number 2 receiver. So it's a matter of need, I guess, like you said. I mean, if I just had to pick a side, I would probably lean the Monty side just because I'm that out on Javonte, but you might benefit from the Keenan side. Sammy, Saints defense, Jacksonville defense, Falcons defense, or the Raiders?
I think I like Jacksonville against Minshew Mania.
I mean, I know you think, well, the Patriots are going to be that bad on offense again. Go the Raiders. The Raiders just don't have enough upside for me.
Yeah.
I think I go
the Falcons. The Falcons are interesting against Houston, but CJ Stroud not really turning the ball over. Saints are also interesting. Oh, wait, no, Saints play Houston. Sorry. Saints play Houston. They're not turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Falcons have a pretty good matchup this week too, but again, I just don't.
Washington.
You get Washington, but man, we've seen with Sam Howell, like there's games like last week where he looks terrible, and then there's games where he comes out, he looks phenomenal. Like, I don't know. I think I'm going Jacksonville here.
Yeah, I'll go Jacksonville against Minshew. All right, we can't end on a defense question. Last one. Miguel Ribeiro. Would you trade Brees Hall, Jerry Jeudy, and Ridley for Kupp and Gibbs?
Hall, Jeudy, and Ridley for Kupp and Gibbs? Man. I do feel like it's a bit of an overpay, but I mean, again, if Jerry Jeudy is just sitting on your bench, which he probably is, and if you're deep at running back, maybe Brees Hall, like he's your RB4, and now you're getting to put Kupp in over Calvin Ridley, that's a huge upgrade, and maybe Gibbs comes around. So, yeah, give me the Kupp side here, I guess.
I do it just to get Kupp. I mean, unless if Brees Hall is your RB2 and you need Brees Hall because your RB3 is like, Jaleel McLaughlin, maybe not. But generally speaking, I would say yes, I would go Kupp. All right. We are out. Oops. Did not mean to do that. Well, I guess since I put it up, we'll do it.
All right.
Do you think McLaughlin will get some good points? I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet on it either.
All right, we are out now. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll do a quick show before Thursday night. You got your last minute start sit questions and, of course, more trade questions, waiver questions, whatever you got. We'll get to it. Don't forget to check out the start sit videos. They are out and coming out also with booms, everything else to help you win. That's what we're here for. All right, guys, appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Until